champ is here!
It's just a man! Give me a hell yeah! What the Rock is cooking?
To be the man, you have to be the man! Big Papa Pump! Is your hooker?
Fallen!
Holla! And the air!
Woo, woo, woo!
Cup of coffee in the big day.
Holy shit, folks, it's hard times here. Happy Halloween and welcome to Working the Marks here on Famcast Media. I am your favorite inmate and New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Fernando Uribe, and of course, joining us here, my amazing co-host here, Macho Rodriguez, Darth Patius. Folks, happy Halloween to all of you. Hopefully you got some candy, some tail, maybe not in that order, but whatever the case may be, happy Halloween to you all. And of course, sharing is caring. Click that share button. Let everybody know how much you love Working the Marks. What's up, gentlemen? Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you too, man. How you guys doing today?
Happy Halloween. I have a quick question for you, Uribe. Now, do you start the game for Wild Thing, or are you middle relief? Like, what is it? Like, are you the setup guy for Wild Thing, or are you the starting pitcher? How does it work in the California Penal League?
I'm Ricky Vaughn, baby. I'm Ricky Vaughn. That's it. You know, California Penal League. That's where I excelled at.
Wow.
Amazing. Sharing is caring, except for STDs. Don't forget that, folks.
That's right. That's right, folks. Happy Halloween to you all, and appreciate you guys, everyone tuning in right now on YouTube, on Facebook Live via StreamYard, obviously on Twitch, Rumble, and all of our social media platforms. Shout out to Dee Rotten, who never has to wear a costume. He looks like that all year long.
Whoop, whoop.
I appreciate that. And folks, a lot to talk about in the world of professional wrestling / sports entertainment. It's a scary day, and some scary days are ahead as we have one of the most anticipated PLEs in recent memory, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Crown Jewel emanates from Saudi Arabia in the city of Riyadh later on this Saturday night on Peacock.
Alhamdulillah.
Actually, Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And hopefully we'll be able to watch that 3-hour PLE and hopefully 3.5 hours without the 77 commercials that will probably be,
You fucking cheapskate.
$5.99.
And but in any event, we'll get to Crown Jewel in a little bit, a stack card for sure. But let's get to some news here. And guys, it's interesting because when we think about really the rumors that seem to keep circulating here, we're hearing different reports. I know that Patty last week talked about Billy Body's latest report about CM Punk. It would seem that there's still a lot of social media buzz about Phil Brooks. He's been relatively quiet, no social media engagement per se, no pipe bombs, no shoot interviews on Twitter or Instagram Live like he was doing when, remember, he was kind of speaking his mind when he was in AEW. That's not the case right now. What are you guys hearing about, let's say, I mean, again, it's almost a certain, he'll be in Chicago at Survivor Series, but what do you make about his silence on social media?
I love it. I think it adds to speculation of everything because right now there are actually people in AEW that believe he's in the devil mask. So I think that's the speculation. It's like, oh, let's try to get those ratings. If people think that he's in the devil's mask, it's like the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was, convincing the world he didn't exist. Maybe it's a work or whatever, but as we know, he's moving over to the E. So we just have to wait and see. And maybe he's trying to learn from his mistakes.
He hasn't been totally quiet. He did make, not an appearance, but he was a caller on a radio show in Chicago, and he was asked about Survivor Series, and he said that, that the event sold out, that he might not be able to get tickets to go, but that more importantly, his dog Larry tore his dog ACL, and that he and his wife April really need to be home to take care of Larry because Larry's like his son. And, he feels the need to have to take care of little Larry there. So, obviously, it's tough having a sick dog. I mean, I know Mach, his dad once had a sick cat at home. So, it's a difficult situation to handle having a sick pet. But hopefully Larry recovers, gets a little dog ACL surgery. Maybe he's walking around, on a little dog chariot. He could bite another young buck. And maybe we get a chance to see Carlos Miguel Punk at the Survivor Series.
Acknowledge Larry, bro. Acknowledge Larry.
Knowledge. Listen, guys.
Acknowledge
I think it's a story that we have to keep an eye on for. And like I said, tomorrow's already November 1st. And while Survivor Series will be towards the end of November, I think a lot of speculation remains. We've been hearing subtle hints during commentary, right? Corey Graves dropping little lines, so on and so forth. I think it's going to be very interesting come the United Center. I mean, again, this is a time when the United Center, short of August of 2021, will be at its fullest for a pro wrestling event. That has not been the case since then. So if you'll remember, after his premiere on Rampage, that live Rampage in August of 2021, I mean, listen, All Out failed to sell out. I believe later on in that weekend, whenever it's been in Chicago at the United Center, it has failed to produce record gate. That's not going to be the case later on next month. But for WWE, I think obviously, and what we anticipate will be a great Survivor Series. The return of CM Punk in Chicago, I think, could literally blow the roof off that place. And it could really, again, as we've talked about before, it could start sending the wheels in motion for 2024 and what we're going to be seeing, not just at the Royal Rumble in Tampa, but at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. We'll see.
There are tickets available, though, Fernando.
I have not. I believe tickets are still available. I mean, they may not be the best seats.
No nosebleeds for $400 a pop.
Well, you know what? That's the cost of going to see pro wrestling right now. Listen, if you look at the tickets, for example, for the Friday, December 1st show at Barclays for SmackDown, again, and it's better wrestling. But the point is that anything involving entertainment, whether it's pro wrestling, whether it's basketball, it's the NBA. Like I'm looking at Lakers Nets tickets for me and Pat to go root for our Nets and my Lakers.
Oh, whoa, time out. First of all, you're a fucking basketball hoe. All right. You are not a Nets fan. I would never wish that kind of suffering on anybody in my fucking life. Okay, being a fucking Nets fan.
We can go to the Laker net game. You wear your net gear with my Laker gear.
No.
But the point is that anything really has been going up entertainment wise. So it's going to be interesting to see what the cost is going to be at Survivor Series, even for the cheapest seats. Obviously, all the good seats have been bought up either by ticket brokers and these ticket companies. But even whatever's available on these apps like TickPick or StubHub or anything remains to be seen. So we'll keep an eye on that for you for sure. Guys,
one quick side note: generally speaking, at AEW shows, the only nosebleed seats are the ones in the gorilla position that Tony Khan occupies because he tends to get a few nosebleeds because everybody knows, we all know, he's the Snowman. Oh wait, my special effects guy, he fucked up.
Okay,
the Snowman. There you go.
Speaking of Tony Khan, interesting little bit of AEW history. This past Saturday night, during a live collision, MJF defended the coveted AEW World Heavyweight Championship against one of the original champions of the company, Kenny Omega, all but guaranteeing he would eclipse Omega as the longest reigning AEW World Champion in the company's brief 4-year history. I got to tell you guys, it's been a year for him. I would argue that of any promotion in recent memory, never forget about WWE. I think about any promotion, the National Wrestling Alliance, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, New Japan, MLW, you name it. I cannot recall a world champion or the major champion of a company being as uneventful of a title reign as MJF. And I love MJF. Listen, being a broadcast journalist, I can be objective, but I have to say though, this has been a very uninspiring run.
Did you say love and MJF in the same sentence?
Well, I love MJF. I think there are elements about MJF that I love. And again, being a broadcast journalist, I can be objective about this. It's not been very compelling. And if you have to give a grade to this 365-day year reign for Maxwell Jacob Freeman, it hasn't been very good, guys. I hate to say it.
He will be no more than a mid-carder in the E. Guaranteed.
He'd be a mid-carder in NXT.
Woo! Well, we'll find out. We'll find out next year in the bidding war, right? The supposed bidding war.
There's no bidding war.
It hasn't been impressive, dude. It hasn't been impressive. It's been very lackluster, and it's been really redundant. And I think Mach summed it up the best when he said that he's 80s Ric Flair meets Andrew Dice Clay. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what the shtick is. Look, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a talented young man. He's putting himself in a good position. I think out of all the young people there, he gets it. He understands what the business is about. But it just seems like he's kind of complacent. and it seems like he hasn't really challenged himself, and he's not pushing to be creative. And I think it's kind of created a very lackluster world title reign for him.
And it's weird, right? Because you would think that he has some aspect of control over his character. Again, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just hypothesizing. But you would think that he would have considerable input, and this is what we're getting. I think that's also an indictment of MJF as well, where I think now more than ever, that reinforces the notion that he needs oversight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. He's been very boring. I enjoyed Jay White more.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's I've made that known a couple of times. I'm enjoying right now. I enjoyed the Kenny Omega thing, and I was like, man, just have Kenny beat him. Like, I don't want this guy to do that. I don't understand what was the point of setting a record with Kenny Omega to only have him, like, for the record to be broken. The company's only been around for 4 years. You're breaking records already?
That's exactly what I was thinking, bro. You pulled the words right out of my head.
That's so weird. And you do that from like a global star like Kenny Omega. You just pull his record to give it to one of Snow White's 7 dwarfs. I don't understand it.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I'm not really a fan of it. It's, to me, this is kind of the mindset of a lot of these people in AEW, where they feel like, well, I'm a veteran and I'm a star and everybody knows who I am, so I'm gonna put this young kid over. Kid, follow me in there. And it's just like, bro, nobody really knows who the fuck you are. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. Outside of the fucking hardcore wrestling community, who really knows who Kenny Omega is? Nobody fucking does. His world title run wasn't exactly great either. You know what I'm saying? No. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, more of the same old, I'd say, in AEW.
And a bad rating again. I think it was a little over 700,000 last week for Dynamite. I believe it was somewhere in the early 400,000s.
With Ric Flair?
For Collision. Collision this past Saturday. Really just this, again, disappointing numbers. And listen, we can talk about whether or not it was, the World Series was on TV, which again plays a role like anything else. College football rivalries are heating up because it's late October, conference games. Again, I think I said this at the onset of the summer on the show here that, Tony Khan gambled a lot by putting a show on Saturday nights. And I get it that, listen, it kind of reignites nostalgia for WCW marks like me and Macho. They used to love, WCW Saturday night at 6:05 on TBS. That's all well and good. But again, this is a different time. And
you should have put it on in the afternoon.
Again,
WCW was at 6.
I'm sorry. Yeah. 6:05, right?
6:05.
Yeah. 20, 25 years ago, there was this oversaturation, and really, not to say that wrestling or an affinity for it has subsided. It's not. It's still as popular as it ever is. The numbers that tell you merch sales, gate. It's still a popular form of entertainment. I just think that now with streaming and again, real life sports like Major League Baseball's World Series, college football, the NBA has returned. I mean, when the NBA has, Saturday night on ABC and the Lakers and Golden State and all these marquee games are going on Saturday nights on ABC for the NBA. I mean, folks, you want to talk about taking a hit. I mean, Tony Khan's going to be, bludgeoned in the ratings. And even if you put this match on free TV, which again, this is a pay-per-view caliber match for that audience, he put it on free TV. I get it. You can't just take away from Jay White and MJF coming up, I think, in a couple of weeks in the Forum in Inglewood, California for what is it, Full Gear or
Full Gear?
Yeah, sorry, Full Gear. You would think that this was a match that would be on a pay-per-view, but again, Tony Khan felt, hey, listen, let me try to pop a rating on a busy Saturday night. It didn't. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do for that audience. So you're not going to be cracking a big number.
3 days. That was the notice for that match.
Yeah.
3 days. Who the fuck? Like, what if you already had plans for Saturday night?
Like Hogan and Goldberg?
Their hardcore fans don't have plans for Saturday night other than fucking pulling their pork. That's what it is.
Much. They're not going to Halloween parties and hanging out with chicks. I mean, sorry, they're not doing it. Sorry.
Nah.
They just don't have a real fan base.
Well, not a consistent fan base that's going to be, I think, attentive.
The internet trolls is their fan base.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
In WWE, the people that go to live events are not the same people that are bitching and moaning on the internet. It's two different fan bases. Because you can see it. The people that they complain about on the internet, it's like, okay, when you go live, it's like, oh, well, all these people here love the people that you bitch about on the internet. It's two different fan bases. That's why WWE is so successful. It's multiple people that like their brand. AEW, it's all the same people. And guess what? If you're screaming in Abuela's basement, you're not going to be able to go to the show because she's like, mira, pendejo, no te voy a dar 15. Like that's what it is. Like it's $15 for buy one, get two free tickets. You don't have
two.
Yeah. The Big Show went on a independent show recently and offered buy one get two free tickets, or buy one get two free tickets for AEW. Or what is he called now? Paul White? Does he go by his real name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And again, to Macho's point, I mean, barely any notice for a match that theoretically, right, from a perspective for that audience, that should get a considerable amount of hype. In 3 days, I mean, it's a testament and a reinforcement that Tony Khan doesn't get the scrutiny he deserves because, again, the Mark community adores him, and they're never going to scrutinize him. They're never going to vilify him. And just for the sake of argument, if Paul Levesque only gave 3 days notice for a main event type match, the Marks would lose their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Meltzer, Alvarez, Johnny, Jimmy, and Jay, and Vinny on Wrestling Observer Radio they'd lose their minds. I just think that there's an enormous amount of hypocrisy the way people view Khan's booking, and also it's still, again, credit to him. You have to get a big match on a Saturday where you know that you are competing with multiple things.
That's his fault, though. He should have known that shit. He's on TNT. He should have known, like, oh, this is a sports, like, I don't know what the word is, like a sports channel. He should have known that shit. You have to go forward. Do you think WWE doesn't know that Crown Jewel's going to be there next year in Saudi? Do you think that they don't already know where WrestleMania 41 is going to be? They think years ahead. There's nobody in AEW that does that shit. They should be thinking years ahead of time.
But like you said before, it's different audiences. You know what I mean? These marks, the hardcore, the niche audience that Tony Khan is catering to, they don't give a rat's ass. They don't got nothing to do. They're gonna tune in. Oh man, what a stacked card. That's all they really fucking care about. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, and also too, I think to add on to this caveat, and listen, I was reading something, I think, in Forbes this past week that Peacock have been losing some money in the last couple of years, but like their losses were kind of at least the most minimal in recent years, but they also added 4 million new subscribers. So I think from a WWE's perspective, you can risk having a PLE consistently on Saturdays now. I mean, not Crown Jewel, I mean, that's an afternoon one, but consistently having it on Saturday nights, like the Rumble coming up, Survivor Series, the Rumble, Chambers going to be at 6 a.m. in February on a Saturday, and then WrestleMania will be on a Saturday, and then obviously a Sunday. So I think that they understand that they have an audience. They know that come Survivor Series, hey, yes, the NBA is in full gear. The NHL, obviously, college football. They know they have their audience. They know that they're going to have, let's go Devils. They know that they're going to have their audience that loves the Survivor Series. It's one of the original 4 pay-per-views. There's a certain nostalgia aspect to it, even though there aren't as many Survivor Series elimination matches like there used to be or should be. I think they're smart. They're smart because they know that they have.
Who cares?
What's that? Well, I mean, I think that was the big component. That was the big component. That's what made the pay-per-view great in the beginning, right? Like, it was.
I don't think Survivor Series is a top 4 pay-per-view anymore.
You're out of your mind, dude. No, it isn't, bro. Really. No.
Okay, no,
it hasn't been in years.
We'll say one of the original 4. And I think that
one of the original 4. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, one of the original video games was WrestleFest, and nobody cares about that game now. So it's just, what are we supposed to do? It's just like, it's fine, but Backlash is a better show. Elimination Chamber's always been a better show. NXT puts on better shows.
It's because they
Survivor
gotta go back
Series
to
is
old
just
school,
fine.
Bro. They got to go back.
The last good Survivor Series match was Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. That was the last good Survivor Series match.
You mean the card itself, or just that match?
No, just that match.
Okay.
Like, I can't name last year's Survivor Series. I can't name a single match on that card.
well, the War Games match at Survivor between the Bloodline and
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
that was a really good match.
I mean, fine.
What?
Spider-Man, bro. You need to get your spider sense checked.
Match. That was
No,
great
maybe I got web in my ears.
Macho.
It's fine. I just
Match. That was amazing storytelling to help build to the bigger story into 2023. Obviously, going into
no, I understand the progression of the story. For me, it was just
So you
I
want
think
Survivor
the-
Series from like the 80s?
no. I don't really care. I personally enjoy the way Vince McMahon ran Survivor Series. That was my favorite version. I love champion versus champion. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I remember that started in 2016 when they started doing another brand split again, and they started, kind of having the champ. And then
Sometimes
having
people
the
hate Vince McMahon, but he had great ideas.
I mean, Mach, next you're gonna tell me that Puff Daddy, saved Sting's career.
He did. He did. Who the fuck was Sting before Puff Daddy?
Whoa!
Wow.
Whoa!
Well, we'll get this thing in a bit, but speaking of Vince McMahon, to your point, Mach, Vince McMahon this past week.
What the hell is this?
What?
We're getting offered. What is this?
I smell a
Flexible?
scam.
Yes.
Wow, guys, we were being scammed on here.
By the way, happy Halloween to what's his name? John Brandel? Is that his name?
Yeah, John Brandel. Thanks for watching the show.
Thanks for watching the show, John.
Johnny,
Brandel. Appreciate
happy
it.
to you, Johnny. Thank you for being a fan. I appreciate it. And speaking of Vince McMahon, to Mach's point here, this past weekend, obviously, we got to see Vince McMahon and Mark Calloway, aka the Undertaker, be on Boulevard Hall in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to watch Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou lock horns in a boxing match. Obviously, it spoke to all the MMA junkies that were there. And while Vince was present in Riyadh, Vince pretty much was also asked what he makes of the Boulevard Hall venue, which, by the way, I mean, you want to talk about the Death Star being built in record days. I mean, that arena was built in 60 days.
What's wrong with the Death Star?
What's that?
What's wrong with the Death Star?
Well, I'm just saying, like, the amount of time it took to reconstruct the second Death Star. I'm just saying, like, this pales in comparison.
First of all, the plans had to get approved, and there was a period there where probably up to about 2 weeks where the plans had to get approved.
Yes, exactly.
And they had to have inspections. They had to go through various,
the Imperial Housing Inspection.
Darth Thaddeus.
But listen, we can't get unionized workers to modify the Pulaski Skyway in less than 10 years, but they can build arenas in 60 days in Saudi Arabia. I'll tell you. But in any event, Vince went on to say, quote, "Well, this is our home now, and it's been pronounced. This is our home, WWE's home." And listen, I think we all know that. Obviously, the Undertaker also gave his thoughts about Saudi Arabia and the spectacles there. Certainly, quote, saying they were awesome and indicative of a genuine effort to bring the most outstanding sporting events and entertainment to that part of the world. Obviously, we'll talk about it a little shortly right after this, but obviously WWE will make its excursion to Riyadh this coming weekend for the Crown Jewel event. It's interesting, guys, when years ago when Vince McMahon announced a partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah, and the government there, that got Vince a lot of flack. And certainly it was a long-term contract. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think it was maybe a 10-year deal.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know.
Blood money, they called it.
What's that? Yes.
Well, Punk
Blood
called
money,
it
they called it.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because, listen, it certainly got Vince some scorn based on the fact we all know about that region of the world. And again, I don't want to sound like my Monday night show, but we all know what.
Yeah, because that shit's boring.
It's
Not as boring as the Undertaker.
It's also accurate, but
Kane.
Tomato.
But
Kane's better.
obviously, Vince got some scorn and vitriol online about doing business with a really oppressive regime there in Saudi Arabia. But no different than I think other businessmen that do. That make deals with oppressive governments. I don't think Vince McMahon is the first guy and won't be the last guy. We've had American presidents. We've had American governments. We've had administrations doing business with the government of Saudi Arabia. It's nothing new. It's just, Vince made himself an easy target with the marks, with, doing shows there regularly. Obviously, we saw the greatest Royal Rumble ever. We saw Crown Jewel. We've seen some advancements where, finally now women, even though they have to be fully clothed up to their neck, for fucking Christ's sake,
But that's their culture, bro. That's their culture.
Right.
Who gives a shit?
You didn't like that Becky Lynch gear last year? That shit was awesome. The Kill Bill gear.
I like I like Tiffany Stratton's gear and Charlotte's gear, but I mean, we're not going to see that there. But certainly it got Vince a lot of vitriol. We know it was a smart business decision. It's gotten Vince some scorn online. I know there was some feedback on Forbes about how that line was perceived. Vince is being smart. He's a good businessman. He's opening up doors, obviously doing a show, not now, obviously Endeavor and with the partnership now and the merger, but certainly, we'll be seeing, we just saw a show in India in early September. We'll be seeing a show in Australia in February of 2024. So listen, WWE is indeed a global company. Obviously, it's not a surprise, but it raised some eyebrows with Vince making that comment this week as he was in attendance for the Tyson Fury fight. What are your thoughts, guys, about, so again, 5 years later now, since the first Crown Jewel, has sort of the vitriol dissipated? Is it still viewed upon kind of negatively because of that part of the world? And
didn't back in the day Madison Square Garden bank him the most money? Didn't MSG? Wasn't that like the place that banked Vince the most money?
Yeah, that was the home turf.
Yeah. Well, now Saudi banks him the most money, so that's why he's calling it home. I think it's just a money thing.
You can't blame the people. I don't blame the people, just like I don't want anybody to hate Americans because of what the government does. I give them a break because I'm like, every government is messed up. The people have nothing to do with it. If they want to see wrestling, let them see wrestling. You want to call that home, call it home. Just don't bring the politics in it, man. Just leave it.
Bro, you sound so fucking reasonable. That's amazing.
You'll only get that. You'll only get that on Halloween from me.
Damn, your twin brother Violent J doesn't sound like that at all.
We'll give it to tomorrow, and I'm sure Dee will be back to
I'll be back to normal.
Some interesting comments.
Who cares? Who really gives a shit about this fucking deal? Okay, what? He called it home. Oh my god, Vince could fucking fart, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, it was so noxious, the fart. Oh my god, people are dying everywhere." Vince could do anything. Vince could eat a fucking bagel, and people are gonna be like, "Well, what's up with that bagel? Is this something that's like against the Arabs now that he's eating a bagel? I mean, look, dude. At the end of the day, it's a smart business move. He's doing what he's doing. People are going to criticize it no matter what, bro. And who gives a rat's ass about the people who criticize it, because they're still going to watch anyway. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Vince wins no matter what.
I mean, it's still going to get. But again, getting back to the construction, I mean, it's just amazing. 60 days to build an arena.
Wait, are you serious? Those 60 days?
I believe it was 60 days. I'm not lying.
Maybe they hired the people that build sheets here in Pennsylvania, because those things go up real
fast.
fast.
They got great unions over there, bro. 60 days. Damn.
El Chapo had a tunnel built from that took like 6 months, I think, and that was like with like guns to people's heads. Otherwise, the cartels would have like skinned people alive if they didn't build a tunnel. So just imagine how quick and expedient it was to build that.
I would love to see a fast video of that.
I mean, again, it's 26,000. It's not a huge arena, but it's still a very good sized arena for a venue that is.
Is it bigger than Wembley?
No, it's only 26,000, I believe, capacity. Okay. That's the arena where they went to watch Tyson Fury last week. So, I mean, again, it's a popular venue. It's a venue where now, because of the merger with Endeavor, Dana White and TKO are going to look at that as a popular destination. You know what?
UFC is going to be over there soon.
World. It's near Dubai also. It's a popular destination. I mean, I don't think I'd want to go vacation in Saudi Arabia. I'd rather go to Dubai. But the idea is that it's a popular part of the world. It's going to generate revenue, attendance, metrics, gates. So Vince, Vince is just ahead of the curve when it comes to the business dealings that he is to make on behalf of Endeavor. And I'm sure at this point, Endeavor has to be thrilled that he signed that contract 5 years ago. Now, when that contract's up in the next 5 years and it's up for renewal, I'm sure the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will gladly, based on tourism and based on everything that WWE is going to.
I'm calling it in the next 5 to 7 years. We're gonna have a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia.
Which I'll tell you right now wouldn't be the worst thing, because at least it'll be early in the day. Which
it's not going to happen.
You don't think so? We're gonna get one in England over in Europe soon, so we're gonna get one there probably.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I think that'll stay for the United States forever, just because of the amount of people that come here from other countries. I don't think the people from the States will go to those countries.
I see it happening, and I see it happening in Wembley Stadium, and I see them breaking a record. That's what I see happening. Yeah. Just because fuck you. That's why.
A real record?
A real record. A real
I think
record.
also, listen, I think also too there are venues in Europe. Listen, this weekend coming up on Sunday, the NFL invades Germany as the Dolphins face the Chiefs, and that seems to be packed to capacity. You think that
That's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but what I'm saying is that I think that there are parts of Western Europe that are going to embrace welcoming WWE. And to Macho's point, will Americans want to travel to England? Sure, I think that.
Isn't it harder for us to go to other countries than it is for people to come here?
Well, I mean, it depends where we're going. I mean, but if we're talking about England, I don't think it's that. I mean, it's a long flight, sure. It's about 5 and change, if not almost 6 exactly. Just
No different than flying to the West Coast.
That's not what I mean. I thought it was harder for us to leave the country. Like, don't we have to do more checks?
Maybe in Saudi
Like for us to
Arabia,
go
something
into
going out that
Canada
way.
and things like that. Like, isn't it harder for us?
But you
to
just
leave?
can't be wearing what Uribe is wearing if you want to go to Canada.
Yeah. Fernando's the inmate. He can't answer that. He's not a customs
Well, I can just
agent.
tell you. I mean, March. I mean, over the summer I went to Colombia. That's about a 5 and change flight. Other than the usual equivalent of what TSA is in Latin America. I mean, it's the same provisions and safeguards.
Did they put a machine gun to your head like they did to me in Colombia?
Well, yeah, but you look like a trafficker, though. I mean,
Demand passport and they're not speaking English.
No, I look more like the sleazy guy that promoted Girls Gone Wild. And
Oh,
I'm saying, like, there's a difference with how you and I look like, but much to answer your point, I think that the same safety guards are in place, the same equivalent say exists. The same thing in England. I'm curious about going to England. I think the Americans would fly out. Now, again, if it was in Saudi Arabia, I mean, again, starting WrestleMania at 1:00 in the afternoon would not be the worst thing in the world. Okay,
No.
Just like when I watched All In, on that Sunday, yeah, it was at 1:00. I didn't mind a PLE pay-per-view at 1:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. It kind of reminded me of the original WrestleManias, right? If you remember, they used to all be at 4 p.m. Eastern time for some years, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in Saudi Arabia. We're expecting a good crowd this Saturday for Crown Jewel, which brings us obviously to the PLE, one that I got to tell you guys.
Weren't we going to talk about the stinker?
Well, that's our main event topic tonight. Yeah,
Okay.
We'll get that. We'll get the icon in a little bit. But this Saturday, folks, emanating from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Not that guy, Nigel.
Yeah. Crown Jewel emanates there from the stadium there. I think King Abdullah, whatever the fucking kings are.
King Abdullah Sports Complex. Respect their culture, right?
Yeah.
Respect their culture. Save that shit for the fucking Monday night show when you're like, oh, the Alphabet Army.
They change fucking kings every 5 years. What the fuck? You want me to keep track of?
So yeah, you fucking should. Aren't you a broadcast journalist? Aren't you a broadcast journalist? Huh?
To quote
the LGBTQ came up with the Alphabet Mafia.
Much to answer Patrick, I'll answer like the iconic legend Bobby the Brain. They're just some things I don't care about. So
you talk about the second best manager of all time.
That's fine, but to answer your question,
the what?
I don't care about. So.
He is. He's
the what? The
Paul
second.
Heyman. Paul Heyman.
The second.
Paul Heyman's the man. He's the
third?
best manager of all time. You, D, you're the third.
Are you working right now? Are you working?
Oh, he's dead.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Shoot.
I got a call coming in. Hold on a second. Hello? Yeah. No, they agreed with me too. Paul Heyman's the greatest manager of all time.
But God, wow. I mean,
I've never heard anybody say that before, except for Paul Heyman.
Exactly. Yeah, neither have I.
He's a dog Thaddeus.
But just blasphemy, Mach. Blasphemy. But,
How is that blasphemy? How? Please enlighten me.
Bro.
Well, short of the way that he's been booked to manage champions, to say that.
I mean, even before in WCW, bro, Paul Heyman with the cell phone, bro. He was a shit.
When he looked like Jim Belushi?
Yeah.
Well, Cornette was better than him in NWA, WCW. Let's be fair about that, too. But that's just me.
I mean, long term, we're talking about an entire career, okay? An entire career. Paul Heyman's just done more, man. Now, look, I'll say this much: Bobby Heenan was better. Bobby Heenan was better at taking bumps than Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
Bobby Heenan could actually work. He could actually work, and I'll give him that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Paul Paul Heyman's never met a sandwich he doesn't like. Clearly,
But that's a part of his fucking heat, though. That's a part of his heat. Though.
What, that he's a fucking
Look, the
overeater?
appearance, everything, bro, everything,
Fucking appetite that he eats like a slob.
bro. This
Bro,
guy,
I'm a massive fan of Batman too, but I'm not gonna make my entire thing looking like the Penguin from Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
True.
listen, maybe he's got some health issues. All right.
Oswald Cobblepot.
I swear to God.
I am a man.
Maybe he's got thyroid issues. Okay. Maybe
wait,
he's got thyroid issues.
Hold on, Darth Patty.
He's got
You want a copy of his blood work? Should we
Darth
take a look
Patty.
at
Hold
that?
on.
Yeah,
Macho, and Fernando. Who are your number
Maybe
ones?
he's got a thigh issue. He's got a sandwich on each of them.
Who's your number ones, guys?
I thought it was
GP.
Bobby. I thought it was Bobby.
Bobby, yours, Fernando. Who's your number one?
Bobby, not even.
Okay,
I mean,
Bobby?
yes, Paul has
Yeah.
the longevity, certainly because of the body of work. But let's be fair. I mean, Bobby the Brain. It's
Who's
But see,
drawn
like,
more,
all right,
who's
let me
drawn
ask you a
more
question.
eyes? Who's drawn
Are
more
we-
eyes to the product? Who's drawn
Yeah,
more eyes to the
I
product?
agree, but is that what we're doing? Are we not compartmentalizing the fact that he was a promoter? Or we're just talking about strictly manager, on-screen presence.
Heenan family versus being a Heyman guy.
Paul Heyman is also in on creative. Paul Heyman is a big part of why the bloodline is successful, dude. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Big.
But we're
big
talking
part.
about on-screen character.
Yes.
on-screen
Like,
managerial.
are you able?
As an on-screen character, he's the best, bro. He
Better than-
is
better than
the
Jimmy Hart.
best. Wow, I don't even want to mention that.
Who'd you say?
I'm not even gonna
Jimmy
acknowledge
Hart.
that. I'm not
Jimmy
even-
Hart.
I mean, Jimmy Hart's another one again based on longevity. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's even comparing to Heyman.
Where does Freddie rank in this?
Fifth,
Classy?
maybe.
He's top 10. He's top 10, definitely, man.
He's under Slick.
But I mean, Paul took everything that all of those guys did,
Mhm.
learned from it, improved it, and made it better.
Yes, sir.
He's drawn more eyes on the product. He's
Pat's a
putting more
Paul Heyman
asses
guy.
in the seats. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. Fuck yeah, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. You know what I'm saying? And I know that anti-Semitism is a little popular nowadays.
I don't
All
agree
right.
with it so much. I
But,
hate
but I stand with Paulie Heyman.
There we
Okay.
go.
What the fuck?
All right, Bobby. I stand with Paulie Heyman, Bobby.
Yeah. Never,
I don't know.
never missing a chance to virtue signal. I'll tell you, folks. But
The virtue signal, you got that shit on your roof, Nails. All right.
but guys, this Saturday, Crown Jewel stack card, a real stack card, as opposed to what Tony Khan likes to proclaim. Even
Except the main event. The main event's a little lackluster, but whatever.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
even with a special announcement coming tomorrow. But we got John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. Special note here, obviously, the way they've been packaging this feud.
The greatest of all time, John Cena.
He'll be gone soon, bro. The strike's almost over.
Yeah, thank God. John Cena hasn't won a
Cry.
single match on a PLE in 5 years. They've been very good at stressing that in the vignettes, sort of the storytelling, the sort of the compelling climax. Will you get that win after so long against a guy who, listen, for a guy that's being portrayed as the enforcer, I've seen Solo Sikoa's shows be pinned to the mat quite a bit in 2023.
Yep.
So it's kind of
Really?
interesting for a guy they're trying to protect as the enforcer. Man, he's been taking a lot of L's lately. But I mean,
I've only seen him lose to Cody and Knight.
he took what else? I think didn't Sammy take him out as well at some point? And has he? If I'm not
I
mistaken,
haven't. If he did, I didn't see it.
if I remember, I
I don't
think
recall.
during the remember. I'd have to Google the match he's had this year, but I mean, he's again for a guy that I get it, is a future star, is a guy that has all the looks, checks off all the boxes. You kind of want to keep him a little strong here. I wouldn't be opposed to him beating Cena to kind
He's
of.
the Samoan LA Knight for me. They're both mid Carters.
Well, it says right here, Cody Rhodes is currently the only superstar who has pinned Solo Sikoa in a televised match.
Mach. I think that's a little unfair, dude. You got to be honest about this. All right. Solo has more potential to be a main eventer than LA Knight. Everybody knows that.
Well, he's younger too.
Sure,
Well, he's younger
sure.
too. I think
Nepotism,
he
sure.
has that upside.
Nepotism.
No,
Nepotism.
he has an upside. No, he has that upside.
God bless you. No, not what is that? Nepotism. Jesus.
If he was not related to the tribal chief, he wouldn't be where he is today.
That's a big word for a Latino,
That's
man.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous. This is coming from the fucking guy who can't spell. But I mean,
I'm quoting Conan over here, bro.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. All right. He's talented. All right, he's got the skills to pay the bills. All right,
He's got the thumb,
there's,
bro.
There's no nepotism there. This isn't the Hart family. Come on, man.
Well, I'll say this: it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have him go over on Cena. Just keep the
that's gonna happen.
What's that?
Cena's not gonna win.
I
that
hope.
match.
I hope. Not.
Let's
I
say
hope
this, bro.
not.
I think every heel is going to win in Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Why do you think that
I hope
on the
not.
go home show on Raw, all the baby faces stood tall?
Yeah, but I don't buy into that. I think that's a Mark conspiracy theory.
That's not a Mark conspiracy.
It is.
That's
it
the way
is.
wrestling has been designed for years.
Oh, stop. How many times has that happened and then the fucking good guy goes over? Stop, please. This is fucking tinfoil hat bullshit. All right, listen. The greatest of all time, John Cena, needs to win this match.
Matt,
All right.
we can't quantify. I think. I mean, I'd have to again, D. I have to do some serious homework on this to get those
You
numbers.
can't do
us.
homework. You can't fucking spell. Come on, man. You should know that, Professor.
It
Right.
wouldn't be the worst thing for Solo to go over, keep that heat on him. Wouldn't be the worst thing. Especially since
I think John Cena needs to win. It must be a thrill of a lifetime for Solo to be in there with the greatest of all time. It's got to be fucking amazing.
Big words right there for
John
that
Cena, the greatest of all time.
Big words.
The greatest of all time.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, we're all entitled
Capital
to
G, capital O, capital T,
He's like fucking Will Ferrell.
capital J, capital C. John Cena.
Cody Rhodes takes on Damian Priest. Compelling match. I think it's interesting what they're doing with Priest here. Sort of like the hesitation for him to cash in. Sort of the teasing of maybe a dissolution of the Judgment Day. A lot of compelling things going on in this match. A lot of like variables I think that are floating around in this match. Again, as Cody Rhodes continues being the top baby face in the company, never mind one brand, I would say the entire company. It's interesting.
Huge pop.
You know, it's interesting because, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of rumors going around about what Cody's 2024 is going to look like. Is he going to challenge Roman? How does he get there? Does he win the Rumble? Does he win the Chamber match? Again, a lot of months to go.
Does he beat Priest for the suitcase?
Who knows? I think this is a good match. I think it helps to continue to elevate Damian Priest. So I think, let's be honest, guys, in just 3 years, this is a guy who was, tagging with Bad Bunny in Tampa at WrestleMania. Again, a featured match in the card, no question, against The Miz and John Morrison. But I think a lot of us looked at Damian Priest as like, okay, good. He was a good NXT guy. Let's see where he goes. They had the coveted United States Championship on him. We don't know where we're going with this guy, but I'll tell you, in 3 years, man, he has risen. His promo work is stellar. I think he's a great worker. Again, as a Mark, who has no working experience, but just you see the improvement. I think there's a lot to like about Damian Priest. Now, how far they're going to elevate him? Is he going to be one of those select guys that cashes in and loses?
He's too old, man. He's too old.
You're too fucking old.
What's that?
I said he's too old to win the title, bro. He's too old.
You're
Just
too
like
fucking
LA
old.
Knight's
Listen.
too old.
Nah.
Listen, this match is as easy as possible. Cody's gotten to the point now where he's like Roman. If Cody's in a match, he's winning. So I don't expect Damian to win this match at all. But no, I think Damian Priest is great. I think everything he's done, from being North American champion to United States champion, 2-time tag team champion, Money in the Bank winner. He's a part of the best faction in all of professional wrestling right now. I mean, the guy's doing great. Pat talks about it all the time. Titles don't really matter to the boys. So I don't think he cares. Right now, he's a Money in the Bank holder. And CM Punk has said this before in interviews. That's kind of like a rib on the boys, making them carry that all the time. So people put their stuff in there. But I think he's great. He could lose this, and I don't think it would do damage to him at all. He could lose this. He'd get kicked out of Judgment Day. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know that, I'm sure probably inside of that case, he's got some alcapurrias, he's got a couple of bacalaitos, he's got some empanadillas, he's got all that stuff in there. And he's probably got a little coqui that he's going to throw at fucking Cody in his face in the match. But I fully expect Cody, the number one face in the business, huge pop, dude. Fernando, did you hear the pop for Cody?
Yes.
Did you hear the pop?
Great pop, yeah.
Dude,
Absolutely.
the walls were shaking.
Absolutely.
Okay?
No question.
Not only that, I want to share a little story with you today. I'm a great dad. So I went to go see my kids' parade today. Okay. Their little Halloween parade. Did you know that there was a kid in that parade
I
dressed
did-
like
I
a
did see the photo.
megastar, an
Yeah.
absolute megastar. There was a kid dressed like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a kid dressed like MJF.
Who?
No
There was
way.
a little boy dressed like MJF.
In PA?
Nah, he's white trash. But the point is that the point is that Cody Rhodes is a huge star. I expect Cody to go over here. Damian Priest, bro. What else can you say about the guy? I mean, this is the most I've ever heard Fernando put over a Puerto Rican. So obviously he's doing something right.
That's true. Yeah, I don't like to do that too often. Yeah. So I mean, but
Is it because we have better food than you, or our
You're out of
coffee
your
tastes
mind.
better?
You're out of your fucking mind. Cuban food is amazing.
Or
He
is
should-
it because our
Listen,
country's
no,
free?
I love Cuban food. When I go to Florida, I always go to
on a
Glorious
second,
Tapas
hold on a
restaurant.
second.
I always go to Bongos.
Wait, hold on a second. I know they decriminalized and legalized recreational cannabis in New Jersey. They did the same thing in Pennsylvania. Or what's being ingested there? There's
Mira,
no
papi,
way.
I challenge you. Get your ass up here. You bring your Cuban food and you eat in my kitchen
I have to say, bro, I grew up on Puerto Rican food, and this shit's the shit.
right here. I should change my shit to Chef Rodriguez.
You know what?
All
You
right.
can spell now, D. You can spell now.
But no, but to Pat's point, I think it'd be a great match. To Macho's point too, I think that Cody's gonna be going over a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Cuban. He's down with you, bro. That's your boy.
Yeah, that's why you like him. Is that what it is?
Of
Yeah, he
course.
speaks so much fucking Spanish.
I know, right? In the WWE Women's Title match, Bianca Belair will challenge my girl, my future ex-wife, Io Sky. I would like to see Io get a clean win here, only because again the chicanery has been part of the whole gimmick with damage control. I think it's been great the way they generate heat. Wouldn't be the worst thing for Io to get a clean win. I get it. Bianca Belair is that up-and-coming star. She checks off a lot of boxes. I mean, she has that gimmick that, again, I'm not really a fan of, but I mean, she has done great promo work.
Too black.
What's that?
It's too black.
No, it's not. It's too black. No, again,
You don't like EST, bro. You don't like that.
Pat never misses a chance to virtue signal and
Oh yeah, whatever. bro.
but
I'm
I
picking
said what I
Bianca in
said.
this match.
what's
I
that?
think that
said
I'm
what I
picking
said.
Bianca in this match. I think she wins. I think it's because of Damage Control. They kind of mess shit up, and I think it sets up Damage Control's like little feud.
You think Bailey's going? Bailey's gonna be there, showing off that nice rump.
I don't know if
Probably.
she can. I mean, again, it's pretty repressive over there for what women can wear. So I don't know what she can show off.
She's already working.
How the fuck can you cover that thing up?
That's,
She's Cuban too, bro. What the hell? You don't like
She ain't
her
Cuban.
either?
She's Mexican.
Yeah.
He's Mexican?
She's
Yeah.
Mexican, bro.
You can't tell by that butterface on her. I mean, really?
Oh,
What?
She's Mexican and white. She's Mexican and white.
Macho, no es bonita. That face is not bonita. That's a lunch.
Oh,
lady.
yo, he's out of his mind,
She's
Pat.
She
He's out of his
ain't ugly, my
mind.
guy. She ain't
You're
ugly.
wilding out. You're
ain't
wilding
ugly.
out.
That's a lunch lady. That's a lunch lady Karen face if I ever saw.
Why? Because you can't get her. Because you could get her near an open flame without her face going up. Is that
What
why?
are you
You know what I'm
talking
saying? Come
about?
on, man.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Bro, face
She's
to
a,
face,
she's a Niners fan.
amazing,
That's what
bro.
it is. It's because she's a Niners fan. That's what it is.
Bang,
Maybe,
bang,
maybe.
That's why you don't like her, because
Macho,
she's a Niners
Macho, You
fan.
cannot tell me with a straight face que ella bonita. I mean, she's
Claro
Yeah.
que sí.
Ella
Claro que
bonita.
sí.
I saw her face
Ella
to face,
bonita.
dog.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah, D saw her. He could fucking spell. He said how attractive she
You
was.
word up,
Obviously, grew up eating Puerto Rican food. This fucking guy knows what he's talking about.
Macho, ella bonita, dude. I mean, that's nice ass and all. But
I mean,
Well, you-
everybody has their own choice. Like everybody, I mean, I don't really have a type. I think she's beautiful. I think she's fine.
Yeah, she's
From
better
top
than
to bottom,
Mercedes,
Papa.
Better than
All
Mercedes.
bro, if
Nope.
if she's bonita,
Get
then
the fuck.
Becky Lynch is
Get
fucking
this man
hot.
off the screen.
Becky Lynch is
What?
beautiful. Becky Lynch is naturally beautiful, but like compared to, I mean, come on, bro.
Rebecca Queen.
Rebecca.
What are we doing right now?
Rebecca Queen.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Listen.
No, your point. Listen, that implosion within Damage Control could happen as soon as this weekend, for sure.
Mhm.
For the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship, Rey Mysterio, the Hall of Famer, will
Lousy father.
Logan
attempt
Paul,
to
baby.
compete against
The
Challenger.
most overrated masked wrestler ever.
Wow,
Ooh,
dude,
wow.
you're really fucking low blowing, Macho Rodriguez.
Ooh,
What? I just think Ultimo Dragon's better.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fair, but still, it's a little.
You got to
blasphemous.
give him his proud, bro. He brought the mass shit to fucking United States, bro.
It's a little blasphemous.
Who did?
Ray.
Who did?
Ray brought Lucha Libre style over to the United States, bro. He
What
made it
about Mil
famous.
Máscaras? What about Tiger Mask?
I'm not
I mean,
saying
what
they
about
didn't
other
make it
wrestlers?
famous here. They made it famous over there, but they didn't make it famous in the U.S. Got to give Ray his respect, dog. Yo, 619, bro. Booyaka, dog.
Wow. I mean, D sounds like that guidance counselor that just learned Spanish over the weekend and is just like talking to all the senior class about women.
Oh my god.
Let's be honest. I love you, D, but man, bro, that's guidance counselor.
D,
Bro.
there was this dude that debuted in WCW, used to wear like a full singlet, right? It was white and had like red on it. He wore a mullet. He wrestled lucha style too. Do you know his name?
No.
His name was Eddie Guerrero.
Bro,
was not the first.
Ray made it popular. I didn't say
Ray wasn't even the best in WCW. Hoovy was a better in-ring worker than him.
Wow.
That's true.
All right. Okay.
Period. And
Ray still, listen to my words. Ray still made it popular. I don't say he's the best. He just made it
But
popular.
how did he
in the
make
US.
something popular that was already
Because
popular?
he's fucking great with the kids, Macho. Listen to my fucking English.
Yeah.
shit.
Okay. No, I
No,
understand
he's
that.
not great with the kids because if he was, then he would have been a better father to Dominic, the most dangerous man in professional wrestling. And I don't see what's funny about this.
He stole Eddie Guerrero's son.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you
Wow.
saw, guys. I don't know if you saw on Raw. There was a guy that had a deadbeat dad costume. It was literally a guy at ringside with a Rey Mysterio outfit. I was
Good.
dying.
Are you serious?
Watch Raw. Rewatch that. There was a guy deadbeat dad costume. It was just Rey.
dude.
You know what?
It is.
To piggyback on what Macho said, obviously greatest masked wrestler of all time, Ultimo Dragon, right? Number 2, Portuguese Man of War, Aldo Montoya. Number 3, maybe Rey Mysterio. Okay, those are the 3 greatest masked. Oh, you know what? Mick Foley. He's another great masked wrestler. There you go. And then,
Are you working right now?
no, dude, look, all 12 of the Villanos, they're up there too as well. Super
Beast.
Calo, Silver King. No, not Silver King. He didn't wear one. But you get what I'm saying, bro. Ray, he's kind of lower there. Obviously, as a father, take it from me and Mach, we're great fathers on the bottom, you know? So we're thinking of you, Dom.
Logan Paul, as big a heat magnet as you will find anywhere.
Easy win.
Easy.
I think Logan Paul, he might even win that clean. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins without any chicanery like he did at SummerSlam against Ricochet. It would be interesting.
He'll probably hit the 619 and beat him.
It's possible.
It's going to be better than that fight he had with Dylan Dennis. I'll tell you that much.
In the Fatal 5-Way for the Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley will defend against Nia Jax. Wow, I mean, covering her up is going to be no easy task over there.
She already wears that outfit. She doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. Interesting selection here. I think Rhea. I'd be shocked.
Not showing off that back over there. I tell you that much.
Rhea retaining, I think, almost seems like
easy. Yep,
the easy route. But I expect some good high spots during this match, no question.
Well, who do you think? Who's she pinning though?
Zoe. I think that's why Zoe's in the match.
I think the Jersey Shore mom from Tom's River. Yeah, I think Zoe Stark thinks it was.
What the fuck?
I really hope.
Look at her. She looks like a woman who's working on her 3rd divorce, who missed her kid's soccer practice, who's scoring smack, and just
smack.
And is buying
in New York City from the vending machine.
If she's got the hookup at the chicken or the egg, tell her to send me some ludicrous wings then.
This has by far been the funniest episode I think we've had.
I think for sure. I think the mom from Brick, New Jersey, I think probably gets the L there.
I personally think that Rhea's going to retain, although I would love to see Nia Jax get the win here, man. I mean, she is just phenomenal. What a talent. What a talent.
Bro.
Obviously, one of the safest workers in the company.
Macho, what was that? Nepotism? Nepotism? What was that, Macho?
Yo, God bless you. But
this is different, bro. People, like, she is hated. This would be massive for wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at the people that hate her. You know, they have semen stains all over their clothes. They eat their boogers. They live in their mother's basement. They smell like feces and BO. Who
They
cares
dress up
about
like
Smell Like Her?
ICP. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, and then they pull their pork to her. So I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, Nia's winning. You know what I mean? But I'd like to see Nia win, but obviously,
by
I don't
DQ
think that's gonna
maybe?
happen. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens though. But I'd like to see Nia pick up a win here. You know what I
Would
mean?
be nice.
Highly unlikely, but you never know. Maybe a swerve is coming in booking. And what I think will be the match of the night, and arguably maybe one of the harder hitting matches of the night. Seth Rollins defends the world heavyweight title against Drew McIntyre. I think that could be, in the words of Hall of Famer JR, it could be a slobber knocker. I mean, it could be a block.
Yeah,
I hope Drew wins and turns heel.
I think Seth's gonna win. I've kind of given up on thinking Drew's gonna ever win a championship again. So I just think Seth's gonna win
In front of a crowd, you know.
I mean, look, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that wanted Seth to have a title for a long time. They gave him a fucking title, and now they're like, oh, he's got to lose the title. He should have lost it to Nakamura. He should lose it to this guy. He should lose it to that guy.
No.
And
I'm gonna play this clip later for somebody else.
it's all right. Tell them, tell their friends, tell their grandma. Call me after 9. Wait, hold on a second. I got another call coming in. All right, yeah, Mark suck. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with this. Seth is a guy that is on a roll right now. He's over huge. The crowd is into him big time. Okay, he cut a great promo last night. Now, in case some of you folks might have missed it last night, I was on Must Love Wrestling, the SmackDown to our Monday Night Raw, and Macho and I did a Monday Night Raw review last night, and Macho pointed out something very, very interesting that I think he should share with the viewers of Working the Marks. Macho, what did you notice in that video package for Drew McIntyre?
I noticed that for some reason the lighting in the background was purple. Almost like a little hint that maybe he might be joining a group this weekend. There's only one group that represents purple. I know that there was this guy who came out with an urn, this idiot back in the 90s who did that with purple, but that guy sucks. This group rocking the purple and black. It would be phenomenal to watch Drew McIntyre join the Judgment Day. What a great spot. Especially if it just
I'm glad somebody else agrees with me that the Undertaker.
But where would that leave Priest? That's my question. Where would that leave Priest? Would they turn on Priest? You know what I'm saying? Now Priest becomes a face. Drew's in the Judgment Day. That'd be pretty interesting, man. And they kind of teased it because you saw the conversations between Rhea and Drew on Monday Night Raw. So they've slowly been kind of planting these seeds. So I mean, I wouldn't rule it out.
And especially going into War Games in about 4 weeks.
Wait, but don't they have McDonough? Is he in there or is he gone?
He's an associate, I think, of the Judgment Day. I don't know if he's a full-blown member. I don't know.
What if, and just hear me out, what if Drew cashes in and makes it a triple threat and then he eats the pin? I mean, what if Damian cashes in but he eats the pin? So it's like he loses and that's a way to either to have Seth retain and not have Drew lose the match, and that's when he snaps. This guy, I was about to win. Damian cashed in, and then that's when Drew just snaps.
Sounds like good booking to me.
Yeah, that's Tony Khan booking right there, bro.
Tony Khan would never come up with that shit. He'd have to pay me to come up with something like that.
Best day, never. And obviously, guys,
put a title in that Garden Gnome that's breaking the record at midnight. No way.
And guys, in the main event, LA Knight,
Oh no! Wait, we forgot another match with a bigger star, Sami Zayn taking on JD McDonough. We didn't mention that.
That's
gonna be on the pre-show, because they gotta get the crowd hot,
I wasn't aware of that. I was just going by Bleacher Report and the updated card. So nice catch there, Pat. I didn't know that. Nice catch there. But in the main
I'm
event,
looking forward to this match. That match is going to be really good. I feel like it's going to be reminiscent of DDP versus Benoit. The styles really make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a great way to kick off the show for sure. But to end the show, obviously, LA Knight challenges Roman Reigns consistently. I think we've seen for some weeks that Roman Reigns has done an amazing job in making Knight look, I think, as good as possible. The pops have been ridiculous. That interruption last week during Roman's entrance. Oh, stop it. Bro, you know what? Macho, I'm going to do. I almost want to go now to the Barclays show and I'll have the app on my iPhone because, iPhones have these apps that I'll just measure the decibel level. When
You wouldn't do it.
What's that?
You wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't download.
You wouldn't do it. You're not gonna do it.
I really thought you were going to come dressed up as LA Knight for tonight.
No.
Yeah.
But again, great ovation for him. I think it was a great segment last week. I think Roman, he's amazing in helping make his challengers
You
look.
say that like it's nothing.
No, I mean Roman's amazing in what he does. I'm not undercutting that whatsoever. I think that Roman is doing again a sensational job in helping to elevate his competition and make him look viable.
Yeah.
On another note, I think that what LA Knight has done in a full calendar year has been amazing. I mean, listen, again, I've talked about this repeatedly on the show. From a guy that was doing a gimmick that was going nowhere with Maximum Male Models to then slowly but sure. Listen, people can roll their eyes all they want, but the facts are the facts. I mean, in that calendar year, he went into feuding with the late, great Bray Wyatt in a match again that was forgettable, but great character work, great build up to that match at the Rumble, going throughout the rest of the spring and summer, generating a nice organic following. And now let's be honest, Paul sees, hey, this guy's hot right now. Let me strike while the iron's hot. Let's see what happens. We all know Knight's not going to win on Saturday. Now, the compelling booking is, does Roman win again because of chicanery? Which again kind of adds to the heel persona. Oh, Roman again had to cheat to win. That's great. That's what adds to its character and the allure. But is Knight going to be able to keep up with Roman Reigns? Can Roman slow down this match enough to make sure that Knight looks like $1 million? He's 40 years old. He's not the worker that Reigns is. He's not as young as Roman is.
Nobody's the worker that Reigns is.
That's right. There's a lot of variables at play. Yes, Knight will take the loss, but it doesn't kill him, I think, going into the Royal Rumble in Tampa. And we'll see in 2024.
I'd like to see some kind of like dusty finish. I'd like to see what happens, what the reaction is on the internet as well as live. If Knight gets a 3 count with Roman's foot on the ropes, only for the ref to realize that his foot's on the ropes and to restart the match, and that's how Roman wins. I just like to see what happens. Does he gain traction? Does it do anything to his character? Does anybody care? Do we go into next Friday thinking like, wow, LA Knight's that dude? Or is it like, meh?
Well, Macho, I mean, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry, but I just think back to July when it almost seemed like all the marks online were like, oh, Knight's got to win the briefcase. He's got to win. And guess what happened? He didn't. It didn't kill his momentum. He still stayed popular with the fan base. He went to win the coveted Battle Royal at SummerSlam. He still had a pop. So I think even taking
the coveted Slim Jim Battle Royal. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, listen, say what you want.
Okay.
That Slim Jim.
There's nothing wrong with Slim Jims, man.
Hey, listen, that Slim Jim commercial with him and Bianca is still very good. But having said that, all the marks were going crazy. Oh, I can't believe Knight didn't win the briefcase. Where are we now? He's still over. He's still popular with the crowd.
I'm happy with the guy who won the briefcase.
What's that?
I'm happy with the guy who won the briefcase.
No, that's fine. But remember, remember all the vitriol was like, oh, he better win. He didn't. And guess what? Where he is now. He'll lose on Saturday. It doesn't affect him, I think, anyway. I think fans are still probably behind him, and he'll continue on into 2024.
I think some fans are behind him. Obviously, I don't think Saudi Arabia is going to know who he is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's still a pretty small star, globally. He's wrestled in a few podunk promotions throughout the years.
Yeah.
Most notably Impact Wrestling, which 5 people, including Fernando, watched.
We got to get the dummy thing on here.
And
Macho, he was a co-holder of the NWA World Tag Team titles. The lineage of those
fucking amazing. That must have meant something in 1986. But in fucking 2023, nobody gives 3 drops of piss about it.
Yeah.
It's still a very heralded title, though.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, totally. Everybody fucking knows that. That's at the show. The Saudi Arabian crowd's not going to know who he is. They're going to have to show a ton of video packages before this show.
Yeah.
Just so they can have a reaction for this guy. Okay? Because he's doing all right in America. He's doing okay.
Yeah.
He's a solid B+ player. Okay? Solid B+ player.
The fuck he is.
All right, B, fine. But the point is that, Roman, I mean, dude, this guy, he's on a run of a life.
Bro, he's the top merch seller, bro.
It's not gonna last for
Who
Roman?
is?
Yeah, Roman is.
No, LA.
What?
LA's top
What?
merch seller, bro.
Right
You
now.
know what? You know what? You can't fucking spell again. All right. So this is.
D, look that up. D, try to find some data real quick on merch sales. I'm sure.
bogus numbers. He's in the top 5. He's doing.
He
pretty
stole
good.
his wrestling name off a Little Bow Wow movie. Like, what are we doing here? Am I the only person that like? Am I that much of a nerd? I don't understand. He stole his name off a Little Bow Wow basketball movie. That was the name of the
his
team.
gimmick from 2 of the greatest superstars of all time.
Well,
right?
they have both been happy with the way he does that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're getting paid to say that.
Wow.
But
Okay. Interesting. Wow. Okay.
Top's new list of and what is this? This is fake news. Where did
That's
you get
from
this from?
October 2nd, bro.
October 2nd. October 2nd. A lot's happened since October 2nd.
Top merch seller in September.
That's bogus.
I know, man.
This is bogus, and you know it. All right.
We'd lost Chandler Bing. What the fuck?
Who?
Top merchant. Okay, hold on. Let's see what this website
Number
says.
10, Kevin Owens. Number 9, Roman Reigns. 8,
Nine.
NWO. 7,
9?
Jay Uso. 6 is Bray Wyatt. Number 4 is Stone Cold. Number 3 is Cody. Number 2 is John Cena. And number 1,
This is doctored. This
For
is doctored.
September. Oh,
I
for
have
September.
I'm
reliable.
sorry, I don't believe.
I don't believe
list.
this either. I don't believe this either. Obviously, looking up fake news over here. What else is new?
The only thing that makes it believable.
What did
is
Uribe send you that? Huh? Jesus.
The only thing that
Unbelievable.
makes it believable is because NWO is still in the list.
Yeah. Well, Stone
That's
Cold.
what makes it believable.
Do you
And
know what the
Stone
real
Cold, yeah.
top seller is in WWE? It's the event T-shirts, the ones that say New York 316, Hershey 316, Newark 316, all that stuff. Those are the
That
real
fucking
ones. The
Hershey
real
shirt.
number
I
ones.
keep trying to get that for Arthur, and it sells out before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's the first place people run is that stand.
Getting back to this mid card guy that Roman's going to carry. They're going to have a pretty good match. Roman's going to do everything that he can to help him, right? Because Roman's on the run of a lifetime. And folks, appreciate Roman Reigns while you got him, because it's not going to last forever. It's
I
not.
just said this today.
It's
I
not.
love that.
Like
Enjoy it,
bro. It's like
Preach.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Compare
Okay?
Roman Reigns to that shit show.
Dude,
This
it's like
is-
Hulkamania in the 80s, bro. You better watch out, Puerto Rico.
Listen,
All right.
Well, I mean,
Calm
I
down,
wouldn't
John
call-
Candy. Relax.
I wouldn't call. Listen, I think that the way that Vince booked Hogan and he knew he was getting engaged.
I'm just saying, Roman's like a phenomenon, like Hulkamania. It's bloodline. It's a phenomenon, bro.
Yeah, but the only difference. Yeah, but the difference is that I think that Paul already has in his mind who is going to succeed Roman Reigns, and probably going to be Cody, unless there's some discrepancy or some wrench thrown into the equation going into 2024.
Why would it be Cody?
Because you got that story you got to finish.
But that was never the
He
case. with
finished his
Hogan.
story. He won the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. He won
Damn,
titles he
bro.
didn't have. He finished the story.
No, he's going to finish the story. He's going to be the guy to beat Roman. I think everybody knows that. I really
Roman's going to break Hogan's record.
Actually, you know what, Pat? I'm glad
I don't know.
we have Macho on here. Mach, I said this to Pat earlier today, not to digress from Crown Jewel's main event, but I really just think that if it's true about what's going on with the chatter about Rock, whether or not he, will be at Mania to challenge Roman, I don't think it would be the worst booking decision to kind of revisit WrestleMania 10, where Roman's cousin, Rodney, had to defend the title twice in one night against Lex Luger and Bret Hart, the co-winners of the Rumble. It wouldn't be the worst thing. Saturday night he defends against Rock, beats Rock, and then he has to face Cody on Sunday and loses to Cody. I don't think that'll be the worst booking decision for Mania.
I like it. I think that's cool. If he main evented both nights, I think that'd be cool. It would add to his legacy.
I was thinking about this.
It's overkill. It's overkill, bro.
I was thinking about this, right? How can they like just say, how it went from WWF to WWF to WWE to shouldn't those championship title reigns just be for WWF, and then it changed when it went to WWF, and then it changed when it went to WWE? So they shouldn't count Bruno and Hogan's to Roman, because Roman's the WWE champion.
Well, it's still the same company. I think it's the same.
Yeah.
It's a different name change, though. It's a different name change.
Fair. I mean,
Yes.
okay. I mean, but it
makes sense because the World Heavyweight Championship isn't the same one that Triple H had.
Yes.
That's not the same one Flair had.
Well, which one is that?
I'm just saying the NWA. It's not the same one as the NWA. That was the World Heavyweight Championship. That was the championship right there.
You know what? I would honestly say, who gives a fuck?
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Yeah. Who really gives a rat's ass?
I
It's a
knew that was
fucking title. It's a fucking prop they go out there with. Yeah, I'm the champion. Woohoo! Fucking guy beat me for the title.
Hey,
Great.
for some guys, having the
Roman's breaking Hogan's
guys
record.
For some
I don't
guys,
think so.
having the title. Hey, for some guys, having the title is a big deal. You know, when you're the champion, you have the belt. I mean, that's a big deal.
You would have to hold it till next WrestleMania, bro, in 2025.
Are you mocking Bret Hart?
I'm not. I'm trying to do as good of a job as Patrick does, but I can't. Patrick's the king of impersonation.
Dude, he's the biggest Bret Hart
Hold on.
fan. What are you talking about? Mocking Bret Hart.
I couldn't fucking hear it because the crying and shit. My bad. But look, man, getting back to Roman Reigns, I don't think he's gonna break Hogan's record. I think Roman's sticking around till 25. That's it. 25 is as long as he's gonna stick around. People forget this guy has leukemia.
Yeah.
Fucking leukemia is in remission. You know what I'm saying? What he's done is nothing short of remarkable. You know what I'm saying? It really is. This is a legendary fucking run, and I feel that Cody needs to be the guy to beat him and to take it forward. Now, maybe some things could change. Maybe, you know what? Maybe somebody else does really get themselves over from the mid card to the main event.
Like Jey
You know
Uso.
what I'm saying? Like Gunther. Maybe we see that. Or
So Pat, no chance that possibly again we will revisit WrestleMania 10 where the champion will have to defend twice. Where again,
I think it's overkill. Roman Reigns on one night is enough. You need another match to main event night one that's just as big.
But if the rumor about Rock,
Rhea versus Becky.
But if the rumor about Rock,
Punk versus Rollins.
Yes.
Okay, but if the rumor about The Rock returning and challenging Reigns, you can't make this a triple threat.
Becky's a bigger star than her husband.
You better stop it.
She is. That Macho's right on this. She's a bigger star than her husband.
Yeah, that is the truth.
So Patrick, so you're saying like you don't think there's a chance that because again of Rock's possible involvement and the gate that could create and the hype that could create that we're not going to revisit WrestleMania 10?
I don't think Rock's going to be there.
I think it's unnecessary.
No,
Yeah,
Hollywood opens up. Brock's not there.
I don't think Rock's going to be there, dude. I don't think so, man.
I
I think
when Hollywood opens up, everything that they were doing, it's going to be like right away. Cena's even said it. As soon as Hollywood's there, he's gone. So, I mean, think about all the projects The Rock was supposed to be a part of.
And he's got a production company he's got to worry about too.
He's got to film the new season of Ballers. He's got.
Is that series still on?
Yeah,
I don't know. I love that series. I hope it is.
No, I'm pretty sure that ended on HBO a while back. That's in syndication, but I don't think it's still an ongoing.
What about Jumanji 17? We need to see that. You know, I mean, whatever The Rock's got going on right now, Jungle Cruise 2, we don't know, but we know that he's going to be
done
pushed
2019.
Yeah. Okay. So we know that that's going to happen. So I don't think The Rock's going to be there. I think it's going to be Cody versus Roman, and I think the one rumor that the Dirt Sheets has told us, not the Dirty Sheets, not the one to get blamed for saying that about Body, but the one rumor that the Dirt Sheets is true, that is talking about that I think is going to come out to be true. Roman's going to beat his ass clean in the middle of the ring with no outside interference.
Again?
He didn't beat him clean.
No, he didn't beat him clean. No.
But I'm saying he's going to beat him for the second time in a row.
Yes.
Nah.
Roman Reigns lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania twice before he finally beat him for the world title at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but
and
in
then
fairness,
when
he went through a lot of character changes, dude, in that subsequent time. Let's be honest.
who did?
Roman.
He was just the big dog.
Roman went through a lot of changes, dude, until he finally got to the point where he's at now. You know what I'm saying? He went through a lot, and even when he beat Brock, it was kind of a flat response. Okay, it was kind of a flat fucking response
at SummerSlam.
You know? When did he beat him at Mania? Right?
No, he beat him at SummerSlam for the Universal title in 2018, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That's because the ending of that match was weird.
It was flat because I think Strowman was the Money in the Bank winner. He was at ringside, and that was a short match. It wasn't a very long match, and I remember it was kind of a dead reaction to Pat's point about when he beat he beat Lesnar for the Universal title in the summer of 2018, and then subsequently he had to relinquish it due to his illness again. It was kind of flat. I agree with Patrick on that one. I think it was kind of flat.
I didn't disagree.
Yeah, I think that to Patrick's point, like, losing twice. I'm sorry, to your point, Mach. Losing twice to Roman wouldn't be the worst thing. Again, Cody.
Bro, people would commit suicide, bro, if that happens.
What's that?
People would commit suicide if that happens.
Wrestling's not that serious.
Everybody lost their
Bro,
minds.
there are marks out there that are serious.
Everybody lost their minds in April, and what happened? A month later, that subsided.
Yeah, but I think this is different. This is different than Roman losing twice to Brock. Roman has never been as over as a face as Cody is now. The only time he was really over as a face was before the Punk interview. Before Punk said, "Oh, you got to make him look strong," and then all the fucking marks turned on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
the 2014 Rumble. Yeah.
Dude. I mean, bro, the response was fucking huge.
They should. That's why I believe that the Rumble shouldn't be determined until they get to the arena. Let the crowd dictate who's going to win.
They could have called an audible there, and then they could have done a match between him and Batista or whatever, and that would have been fine. That would have been perfectly fucking fine, and it would have kept Roman strong, and it would have kept Roman a babyface. However, it worked out the way it did. Here we are now. But I just think that Cody's got to be the guy to fucking do it, man.
Man, you have become a massive Cody Rhodes fan.
Well, I see his value.
No, I get that. I get that.
And I understand what he's about.
Who do you think should do it, Macho? Who do you think should dethrone the king?
Nobody.
Wow.
I'd like to see Roman Reigns keep it until 2028 and break Bruno's record, but that's me.
I'd love to see Roman relinquish the title and walk away. To be the only person to ever do that.
It's kind of anticlimactic for such a fucking long run. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's fair.
What do you mean? He just kind of says, like, nobody can beat me. What are you going to have him pull an AJ Lee? Where he just challenges somebody, they come out and they beat him on Raw?
But this is a different thing, man. I mean, this has carried the business for years now, this angle. And you want a great payoff for it, man. Because look, this gets compared to the NWO. And what was the fucking payoff for the NWO? It fucking sucked. It fucking sucked. That shit was flat. You don't want to walk that same path. You want to
it was flat because Hogan was pissed off that he didn't get a tan. That's why it was fucking flat.
Well, guys, not to digress, but this Saturday, a good PLE on Peacock at 1:00. We're going to find out a lot of things listen, the road to WrestleMania begins shortly. It could begin this Saturday coming up from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Before we get to our main topic, guys, real quick, I did see something. And I want to get your take on it because you guys are workers. And today on Busted Open Radio, Mark Henry came out today and talked about his dislike for this concussion angle concerning Candice LeRae. Now, she had wrestled her first match since August last night on Raw against Zia Lee. As you saw, it only lasted 2 minutes, coming to a close because of referee decision when LeRae began acting concussed. The moment apparently was reported a planned angle, but it did rub some people the wrong way, including Hall of Famer Mark Henry. He said on today's broadcast.
Hall of Famer?
What's that?
He's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said today on Busted Open Radio, quote, "It's such a serious thing. I don't want pro wrestling to make plays on concussions." The former WWE star stated that he is close friends with concussion awareness advocate and former wrestler Chris Nowinski, who has helped many athletes and fans learn about the repercussions of head injuries due to him suffering multiple ones during his short career in WWF/WWE. Additionally, Henry revealed that he plans to donate his brain to science to be studied after he dies, and he takes this matter seriously. We need to have people to really acknowledge it and know, okay, this is not wrestling. So if you make plays on it, it's distracting, it's confusing, it's also disrespectful. I feel if somebody might actually have a concussion and they won't be diagnosed, like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't sit well with me. You shouldn't be making theater out of something that's very serious. You guys are workers. What do you think about Mark Henry's thoughts about?
Don't let the work you, brother. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I don't work
Sean,
for you,
it's not. No, it's don't let the work you, brother.
I know. I'm just saying.
It's normal. Listen, not everybody that gets knocked out in a boxing match has a concussion. Who said it was a concussion? Did they say that? I watched the whole show. I reviewed it. We reviewed it together.
Well, acting concussed.
Well, how do you act when you get knocked out? I mean, that's what happened. She acted that way. That's what Zaya does. She did it to Mercedes on NXT. It's a part of her angle. It makes her look ruthless. That's what it is. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and disagree with Mark Henry. He's a pro, phenomenal talent.
You don't want to
But
be
I
in that
think this
hall
is
of
one of
pain.
those. Nah, I don't care. I'll slap his titty. I don't know. I guess I just kind of. I feel like it's one of those things where. I don't know. I feel like Busted Open is like they do that shit to work people.
Yeah.
I don't think that show's legit at all. And it's just a way to stir up controversy. Unless we find out Monday night that they're gonna pull the Shawn Michaels angle, like with Owen Hart, the Insecurity thing.
Not much to be clear. I think Henry's disenchantment with the presentation is that he just doesn't like the usage of any concussion appearance on television to begin with. And again, maybe it's because of his friendship with Chris Nowinski. We all know about the sort of the expose we've seen in recent years about head injuries. We've seen about tragic suicides in the NFL, with former football players, with other athletes. I think at the core of what Henry's trying to say, again, I'm just hypothesizing here, he just doesn't like anything referring to concussions on the air because maybe it doesn't sit well with him based on what we've learned about concussions. That's my
Art is uncomfortable and it's controversial, and controversy creates cash.
Yeah.
Patrick.
I think that first of all, I respect Sexual Chocolate immensely. And I think he's an amazing talent, obviously a Hall of Famer. He's entitled to his opinion, and I respect it. But pro wrestling, bro, nothing's been off limits before. You know what I'm saying? You had people who were alcoholics. They made fun of it. You know what I'm saying? They turned it into an angle. You know, you had
necrophilia. You know,
necrophilia. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
maybe it was a hand.
How many? Yeah, how many times? Which, by the way, it grew up to be a really big, strong hand. But you know, you know, nothing is off limits in the business, man. And we've seen this a million times over. Obviously, you know, this is a serious thing. You got to respect it. You got to respect the legitimacy of it. The one time I thought that they crossed the line was obviously when somebody lost their smile. I thought that that's not something to make fun of, or you know, it's something serious, losing your smile. But
his mommy told him he lost his smile.
Well, Pat, to be fair too, I mean, Mark still have disenchantment about a live pro wrestling show continuing after the death of a wrestler in the ring on a live.
Okay, but how fucking long ago is that, dude?
Do you think
how long ago is that? But they don't have a problem with fucking
crime
Robinson
scene,
coming out with a roll of pennies and being anti-Semitic on TV.
That was a crime.
They had lots of problems with that, bro.
Okay,
look.
At the end of the day, who gives a rat's ass? It's a fucking story.
It was actually quarters. It wasn't pennies, so I don't understand what the analogy is.
Oh, I thought it was pennies.
You live in Jersey, you know what?
It was quarters, brother. It was quarters.
It was quarters, yeah. So I don't understand why that would be offensive. I don't know. That's
no,
whatever. I don't watch the fucking program. I just saw the headlines. But look, nothing is off limits in fucking wrestling. If Candace is okay with it, if everybody involved is okay with it, who gives a rat's ass? Last night, you know, in our review for Must Love Wrestling, which you can check out here on Famcast Media, we praised it. We put it over, and it was very reminiscent of Jersey All Pro Wrestling when Loki, aka Caval, you know, would come out and would wrestle guys and would knock them out cold, and the fight would be over, and everybody would be like, "What the fuck happened? Like, what's going on?" You could see that same expression from the crowd, and obviously, this is a really good way to build up Xia Li. Okay, this is a good way to potentially throw her into feuds because look, man, that emotion is going to create a good matchup. The emotion of the fact that, hey, Candice LeRae, you know, she's upset because she was concussed and she got knocked out. You know what? I'm gonna sneak up on this bitch and I'm gonna fucking kick her ass. You know what I'm saying? And that's what she had to fucking do. You know, that's what she's got to do if they want to fucking do this. So I have no problem with it, bro. It is what it is. It's a fucking work, bro. Who fucking cares? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I
That's
think
me.
it's so disingenuous of these wrestlers to go on their serious radio shows and just work up the fans. Like
with that LaGreca guy on that show, that guy sucks, dude.
The real talent of the LaGreca family.
Huh?
The real talent of the LaGreca family.
The real talent of the LaGreca family works with the great Michael K. All right?
Yeah. Who bloviates about the Rangers and Mets all day. Yeah, that's what I need to hear.
Well, I mean, look, man. You know, he had a great rant about the Mets. Okay, he had a great rant about the Mets. But this isn't that kind of show. Okay, but look, man. There's nothing off limits there. That program, they work people up into a frenzy. They're very AEW centric, as we know. They're gonna say what they're gonna say.
No, fair enough.
They are?
No, without a doubt.
They're very AEW centric, dude.
Yeah,
Very.
not so much bully, but I think LaGreca, certainly Mark Henry being an employee. I think to some extent.
Oh, that's right.
Tommy Dreamer, even though he's a TNA guy, and Bully Ray's a TNA guy as well.
That guy's still around?
Who's this?
Tommy Dreamer? I thought he was gone after the Plane Ride from Hell stuff.
No, Tommy Dreamer is the holder of the coveted Digital Media Championship in Impact Wrestling right now. Macho.
Is every sack of shit title coveted?
Well, it is if people are pursuing it, right? So it's coveted. There you go.
That's just being booked to be pursued.
I thought the last good thing that Tommy Dreamer did was feud with Raven.
That's a fair point.
I thought the good thing he did was retire.
Funny story about Tommy Dreamer. My ex-girlfriend who used to work at Houlihan's in Sea Caucus back in the day, I got her into wrestling, in the early 2000s. And when she saw him there, she yells out in front of everybody, "Oh shit, it's Tommy Wet Dreamer!" Because that's what I used to call him. And he obviously popped for that. So that was really cool. But he was a cool guy for that.
No, definitely. Guys, to our main event topic, obviously last week on Dynamite, Tony Khan presented a special gift to Steve Borden, aka Sting. Last week it was the arrival of the Nature Boy, and I know I lost my mind when I heard the 2001 Space Odyssey music and the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
I heard he would never ever have the Nature Boy Ric Flair on his show after the Vice show, Dark Side of the Ring. Tony Khan said it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
Okay, well, listen, ratings and money and cocaine and Adderall, they all have tremendous effects on production and television. Having said that, guys, Sting announced his retirement recently, and he said that at Revolution in February of 2024 will be his last professional wrestling match.
Thank God.
And I think that it's now is as good a time as ever to sort of examine the legacy of Steve Borden and to examine a guy who grew up in Venice Beach, bodybuilder guy, along with Jim Hellwig, who formed the Blade Runners, right, after being discovered in a gym in Venice Beach, at Gold's Gym. Came up through the great world-class championship wrestling promotion in Dallas, Texas, headed by Fritz Von Erich. And, there was a lot of chatter at the time about, look at this guy's build, look at his look, the same thing with Jim Hellwig. Obviously, it took him in different directions as Jim Hellwig signed with WWF in early 1987, or mid to late 1987, excuse me. And Steve Borden went on to sign with the UWF, which would subsequently transition into the NWA. Sting, the surfer look, a guy who, listen, in March of 1988, up against WrestleMania 4 on TBS, the first ever Clash of Champions, him and Ric Flair wrestled to a 45-minute time limit draw.
That was the first channel flick.
Yeah, the first real, it was kind of the first conflict for wrestling fans, right? Where while WrestleMania 4 emanating from Trump Plaza was on pay-per-view, this was on free TV, a great show.
That was the first wrestling match I ever saw.
Yeah, and it was a great match. Ric Flair made him look like $1 million.
Yep.
Subsequently, what we would see from Sting from that moment on, he was becoming the face of the NWA/WCW. Obviously, in 1990, after a long feud with the Nature Boy,
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes, at the Great American Bash, New Revolution in 1990, he would unseat Ric Flair for his first WCW World Title. During that summer, obviously, he would face challengers like Sid Vicious.
That was NWA.
The Black Scorpion. And listen, we can talk about certainly the late 80s, early 90s.
It was the Black Scorpion.
The Black Scorpion ended up being Ric Flair at Starrcade. The mask.
So whack.
Going into the early 90s when Ric Flair had
just because he's not that fucking guy, Nigel.
When Ric Flair left for greener pastures in the WWF, obviously the focus was on let's build around Sting. Obviously him along with Rick Rude, along with Paul Heyman, the Dangerous Alliance, Steve Austin, Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Nikita Koloff. Listen, Sting stood out. And subsequently, again, with Ric Flair returning, he was still headlining pay-per-views with Davey Boy Smith, the late great Davey Boy Smith, against.
You missed two big names there.
Oh, well, obviously Cactus Jack. He would fight Cactus Jack. He would fight Jake Roberts, obviously, also in 1992.
Luger and Vader were integral to Sting's career.
Well, sure. And of course, going into 93, obviously, famous Bash at the Beach Blast, excuse me, him and Davey Boy against Sid and Vader. Subsequently, once Hogan entered WCW in 94, it seemed like maybe Sting was still kind of maybe put to the back burner a little bit, even though he was voted the most popular wrestler of the year in PWA magazine. Again, guys, this is all by recollection. I'm not even looking at any notes or anything. He was still very popular. We all know what happened in the summer of 96, into the fall of 96 when Hogan arrived and turned heel. We saw Sting go into a metamorphosis with the Crow character. Again, credit to Scott Hall.
Yeah, he owes him for the second half of his career.
Yeah, the late great Scott Hall in reforming his look. We saw Sting basically for 18 months not wrestle. He would appear periodically on Nitro. He would be, threatening the New World Order. He would be haunting the New World Order. He would be harassing the New World Order until finally, in the fall of 97, WCW was starting to make that build of, will Sting finally challenge Hollywood Hogan for the title? We all know at the time Sting was going through some personal problems.
Drunk.
With substance abuse, going through a divorce. We all know the disaster that was started in 97. And,
listen, Philip Seymour Huffman, shut up.
It was again a flat main event in 1997. Certainly going into 1998, the splinter of the New World Order, him joining the Wolf Pack, subsequently would go back to his original Crow gimmick. The Metallica song, obviously, I think was a great addition to his character. And when WCW went under in March of 2001, the last televised match on Nitro was against Nature Boy Ric Flair, a guy who, let's be honest, he owes a lot to his career too. Subsequently, we would know that Sting would take a little bit of a hiatus. He would live off the contract residuals from the Time Warner deal that he had.
Smart man.
Surface in TNA Wrestling in 2006. He would challenge Jeff Jarrett for the end. Subsequently, he would go through different transformations. The Main Event Mafia, joining with Kevin Nash, with Kurt Angle, with Samoa Joe, with Booker T, with Scott Steiner. He become Joker Sting. He would have a few multiple runs with the TNA World Title. Subsequently, during that time, a lot of rumors. Would he leave TNA for greener pastures? 2011, we all know the rumors. Hey, could we finally have Sting and The Undertaker in Atlanta in 2011? That did not materialize.
Your boy fucked that up.
Subsequently, at Survivor Series in 2014, he appeared in a WWE arena for the first time, helping Dolph Ziggler overcome the Authority. A short run there, obviously. Headlining into WrestleMania 31 in that Bandbox Old Navy field, whatever that is. And
you mean the field where the Cowboys got bitch slapped? Is that
yeah, they shot their load since then, obviously.
Yeah. We'll see who's where at the end of the season, pal.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean the game time temperature has to be right. The team meal has to be a certain temperature. Everything has to be
better than Dak on his worst day.
That's fine. Yeah,
he's pretty good.
No, yeah. Well, we can ask Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp that, but obviously challenging Triple H at WrestleMania 31 in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium was one of the marquee matches in Sting's short WWE career. Certainly losing, not clean to Triple H, but rehashing the nostalgia of the New World Order, DX. He would go on to challenge Seth Rollins later in the year for the WWE World Heavyweight title.
Buckle bomb.
Subsequently, in the match with Seth Rollins, he would take a buckle bomb that would prohibit him from being cleared medically to continue in WWE. And subsequently, he would be off TV for a while. He signed with AEW Wrestling and premiered, obviously, we all know the iconic call by Tony Schiavone at Winter is Coming.
Yay!
And since then, he's been involved in some high-risk situations. He's been partnered with Darby Allin for for the duration of his AEW run.
Super gay.
Now, subsequently
Undefeated.
in February of 2024, he calls it a career. I think all this from recollection is pretty impressive, guys.
That's a great one, bro. You're very
100%.
photographic memory, Professor.
100%. I mean, 34 years of my life have been spent watching this man work. He's been I'm not here talking to you guys today. I don't even know if me and Pat are friends. Like when we started being friends, wrestling was like a big deal for us. Like that's kind of how we got started. That he's the whole reason I watch professional wrestling. It sucks that he's gonna go. I said this a while back. I'm old enough now to watch my 4 favorite wrestlers ever like leave the business. Brett, Lesnar, Bryan, Sting, gone. Just like leaving. Have to find a whole new crop of people to like. And yeah, to me, Sting has definitely been one of he's a Mount Rushmore guy to me. I think I'm glad he never was put in a position to have to work that pansy ass from Texas, because I feel like that guy's super overrated.
That was his
fault. Whose fault?
Sting. He didn't want to go. He was scared.
He was scared of who?
Macho, when you say, I'm sorry, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. But when you say Mount Rushmore, I always get that term convoluted in my mind, because when I think of that, I think of different Mount Rushmores. We talk about workers, we talk about promos, we talking about gimmicks, we talking about gates. I mean, what type of Mount Rushmore are we talking about here?
I'm talking about all around professional wrestling.
Oh, you're out of your mind, dog.
Total package.
Total package.
Word up.
All around professional wrestling. I think that his character, his whole run, 35 years in the business, is as important as Flair, Austin, and whoever Cena, if you want to throw him in there. But
Smoking over there in Pennsylvania.
But Cena will be pulled off the list when Roman's retired. The only guy that makes an argument that in my opinion, that makes an argument, if I'm just shooting here instead of working everybody, the only guy who pushes Sting like in and out of the Mount Rushmore is Taker. That's it. Like, I think in terms of what he meant to professional wrestling and what he was able to do.
They both have longevity. They both have longevity.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. He's still going. And he's also pulled the Michael Jordan effect, where the reason that he's able, this is why I don't understand though, like the whole thing. The reason he's able to go as long as he's able to go now is because he's taken 2 big breaks. When he left WCW, there was a couple of years he took a gap, right? That's like Jordan's first force run.
I think it was about 4 years, I think.
Exactly. And then his second run, after the Seth injury, he took a couple years off too. So his body hasn't really been beat down like everybody else. I think he's that important to professional wrestling. I love the fact that he does not care who he puts over. They'll tell him like, hey, you're going to go out there and lose to Vampiro. All right, I'll do it. They'll tell him like, hey, your last match is going to be at Full Gear and you're going to job to Darby Allin. Okay, I'll do it.
He got mad at Jeff Hardy, bro, because he was sloshed.
That was different. That guy could have hurt somebody. That was completely different. That guy should have never been allowed to go out there.
And by the way, Joker Sting, pretty entertaining for a guy that, let's be fair though,
too short. It was too short a run though.
For a guy that never was given, I think, a lot of character work to begin with. I mean, let's listen. Mm-hmm. Sting was never the best promo, I would argue, but when
he never got the opportunity.
You're out of your mind, dude.
When he cut certain promos, I think he was great at it. I think Joker Sting was very brief. I think during the time it was on TV. Again, remember, guys, we have to remember that when he was in TNA, it was also during that time period that TNA was still experiencing some of its best ratings, considering it was the second company in North America. When they were getting like 1.5 million, almost 2 million viewers, mind you, they were on a more accessible channel.
Thank you, Eric Bischoff.
2006 to 2009-ish, 10-ish, around that time, they were doing good numbers. The Main Event Mafia, everything else. Again, for TNA. Having said that, I think to Macho's point, the Joker Sting angle, I think, was entertaining. It was weird. It was kind of like fucked up funny at times, if I'm making sense.
No, it was great.
He just took a playbook out of Scott Hall thing. When the Crow was big, he was the Crow. When Batman came out and Heath Ledger was Joker, he became the Joker.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say. He has no he doesn't take any credit for himself. Everything he awards, all of his accolades, he gives them to other people. He always credits Scott Hall. He always
There's
credits
no cash
Dusty
in that.
Rhodes.
There's no cash in giving accolades.
What do you mean?
Pay the man for giving you the gimmick. There's no cash in accolades.
Yeah, but it still matters because we're talking about it now. Uribe just said it. Like, credit Scott Hall for coming up with the Crow gimmick. That's the whole point of why Sting does it.
And also, too, guys, just to rewind just a little bit more, I think also Sting was put in a really bad spot in 1990 because if you remember, all they did basically was kind of copy the Mega Powers exploding. It was like Sting and Ric Flair joined forces the year before. It was a whole calendar year of them being partners, and eventually Flair turned on
I
them.
never even fucking thought about that. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was basically just a replication of it. Having said that, when he won the title, if you remember going into that summer fall against Sid Vicious at Halloween Havoc 1990 against the Black Scorpion, then he lost to Flair in 91. There were some moments where like it was almost like Jim Crockett said, well, okay, Sting's our franchise, we're going to put the belt on him, but it was a little underwhelming. And that bothered me because I love Sting. And I was like, damn, it was just easy to put it back on Flair because he was such a good heel champion. And yes, when Flair left, and Luger left, and at Super Brawl in 1992, let's put the title back on Sting. Let's have Sting carry the company again for another year. And what ended up happening was still very underwhelming. That's why they put the belt on Vader, if you remember. And it was just, I just think that, and even in 97, I mean, irrespective of the personal problems he was experiencing, I think that Bischoff has detailed and documented to death on 83 Weeks on his 83 Weeks podcast. Working with Hogan and how political Hogan was and what he wanted as a finish and what ended up happening and how Nick Patrick fucked up the ending because it was really supposed to be a fast count and it wasn't. Bret Hart had to stay in character, finish that match as the referee. I just think, again, he won the title. It was very underwhelming. And what happened just a month or two later, they had to put it back on Hogan. So I think there were a lot of moments where you put the belt on Sting, you want him to be the torchbearer, and it just didn't pan out that way.
He's like the Jeff Hardy of his day.
I don't think Sting ever needed the title. I think it mattered when he was feuding with guys like Rick Rude or Vader or Ric Flair. But the older he got, he didn't need the title. The title belonged on people like Diamond Dallas Page, Booker T, Scott Steiner. The title belonged on guys like that for that era. Unfortunately, Vince Russo's an idiot, but
Bro.
What?
Bro.
I can't take you seriously anymore. You like the police. But you don't even, I don't even know what to say here.
Bro.
Sorry. Go on.
Yeah.
I mean, talk, bro.
Yeah, I get that. I think Sting was one of those guys that once he became the Crow, he didn't really need the title. It was one of those things where it was like, all right, take it off of Hogan. That's a good way to do that. But the company was right after that. I mean, 98 was when everything kind of fell apart.
Let me ask you something, though. Let me ask you something.
Mach, I'm sorry. I think it was like 99-ish because in 98, like, they were still doing good business. Again, the rise of Goldberg.
Business-wise, they were doing great. That was their most successful year in WCW, but the storyline started going batshit crazy in 98.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Why do people say that the Hogan Sting match was hot garbage, though? I don't remember.
It was very underwhelming because I think that going into, again, we had
like 6 minutes.
Well, we had 18 months of Sting, again, abandoning WCW, going solo, going into a darker persona. Again, he was the whole plot was like, hey, WCW turned on him. Now he has to come back and save WCW from the evils of the New World Order, from the clutches of Hulk Hogan. The guy that, hey, has to battle the men that created him.
Yeah.
And that Starrcade in DC in December of 97, it was underwhelming. Again, even by Bischoff, his own admission, like, Sting wasn't as invested going into that match at that whole period. Again, he was going through some substance abuse issues, divorce issues. He was going through some personal problems. And I think he wasn't as invested into the match itself. And it shows. The match was sloppy. Again, I'm not a worker, but you look at it was sloppy. I think Hogan had to do a lot to carry Sting in that match, which you would never think. Macho, that's what happened, Macho. It wasn't a great match. It just wasn't.
All right. I don't know. No, I mean, it's fine. I've never heard anybody say Hogan's carried a match ever.
That's the first time
But-
ever.
But again,
Yeah.
it's because of again backstage and what was going on. Sting just wasn't as invested, and I want to say it showed, but I think that leading into it creatively, it wasn't a good match for all the hype. Again, you want to talk about
So, do you believe in realism in professional wrestling?
what's that?
Do you believe in realism in professional wrestling? Do you
Well-
believe that sometimes? If I told you that I was going to be in the rafters for 18 months, would you expect me to have a tan?
No.
If I told you that I was going to be in the rafters for 18 months, do you expect me to be ripped?
No. I understand where you're going with that. I just think,
Okay.
again, I'm going by the premise of, hey, the backstage, the politics of Hogan, what ended up happening with trying to book that match.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
What's that?
Even so, Sting is still
Quoting Hogan,
undefeated
quoting
against
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. He's literally never lost to Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
The only guy in Hulk Hogan's career that Hogan has never.
Gotta watch
beaten.
out, man. He might come out of retirement and be the last guy to fight Sting.
And Pipe, that's right. Patrick, I think you're dying to get in here.
You
or
look
maybe
like
Pat's-
Mahogan's mini me.
I think
Well,
Pat's dying to get in.
Works for me,
Macho,
brother.
I think Pat's dying to get in, or maybe he doesn't give a fuck. I can't really.
You know what?
I'm waiting for that. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
here you go.
I'm gonna Dave Meltzer it. I'm gonna hold the mic right now.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'll be honest. I've been sitting here quietly because I just realized that we were talking about Steve Borden and not about Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner, CBE, aka Sting of the Police. I thought this was a music introspective, and I had a moment of euphoria. But look, man, I'm gonna shoot here, and I'm gonna be honest. Sting is really, really, really influential to the business. Okay, Sting created a great template of what a top babyface could be and should be. You know, Hogan was his own thing. Hogan was his own separate special thing. Sting was something different. And Sting is iconic. Sting is iconic. He really, really is. You know, you look at the lineage of people that come after Sting, all the top baby faces after him. You wouldn't really have a lot of these guys if it wasn't for Sting.
Christian, Jeff Hardy.
You know, I'm sorry, I can't hear the nonsense. But
Christian and Jeff Hardy, bro, both influenced by Sting.
oh, okay, if you say so. But you wouldn't have the greatest of all time, John Cena, if it wasn't for Sting. You know, there's a lot of similarities between those guys. You know, you look at John Cena early on when he was the prototype, you know, kind of a carbon copy of Sting look wise, you know, blonde hair and everything. Sting is a guy who went about his business in a really, really good way. I also believe he snitched on Lex Luger, if I'm not mistaken. There was that incident where he ratted out Luger.
Bastard.
To his old lady.
Yes, especially with his affair with Elizabeth. Yeah, that's how it pretty much came to surface. Yeah.
Bastard.
Elizabeth.
But you know, I mean, look, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna argue all these mark points about he really was underwhelming with the title and all this other stuff. I'm gonna look at his whole body of work and what he means to the business.
Sure.
Okay. And a lot of guys that came after Sting that wore makeup on their face, that were muscular, that were top baby faces, all of those guys were directly influenced by Sting. And Sting is a guy that you know, years from now, people are going to be watching him and people are still going to be admiring him and people are still going to think that he's fucking cool, except Dave, because Dave's a shithead.
I like Luger.
Okay, we gathered that.
Macho, let me ask you. I'm sorry, Pat. Macho, let me ask you this because I know you, of the four of us, you're probably the biggest WCW fan next to myself.
The biggest Sting fan I know as well.
The biggest Sting fan as well. Do you think it? I mean, I said this to Pat, you know, and obviously, again, because I have a Mark way of thinking. Certainly, there was money to be made when he came in 2014, and that contract was being, you know, finalized. We would come in and be a long program to feud with Triple H. I don't want to engage in Mark conspiracies. There was no way that Vince was going to let Sting win that feud. I think that there was a perception that Vince again wanted to sort of reinforce that he won the Monday Night Wars. I think that moment at WrestleMania 31 at Levi Stadium was great for nostalgia, to bring out the NWO, to bring out DX, to sort of like each other. I think it was a great moment to see all of them out there. again, I don't want to engage in market conspiracies, but it almost seemed like, okay, if I'm Sting, yes, I'm making money. I would not have come back to job to Triple H. But again, that's Mark thinking.
You're right, though.
I think Jim Kelly likes the fact that he got to play in 4 Super Bowls. So that's how I look at it. Sting's the one thing that was missing from his career was wrestling at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Like he got to work at WrestleMania and he got to work like one of the biggest heels in the business ever as a mark, because I it's hard for me to look at guys like Sting and Bryan
Should have came out at night time.
as just an irrational person. But I definitely wanted Sting to win that match, but it wasn't because he was wrestling Triple H. It was just because I wanted him to win. Like I was just like, oh yeah, I just want him to win this match.
Yeah, I wanted that win for him too. And then I think later on in the year, if you remember after WrestleMania, there was a bit of a hiatus. He took off the summer, and then when he returned shortly before Night of Champions in September,
the statue. That was cool.
And when he wrestled Rollins, I mean, part of me was like, well, it wouldn't be the worst thing if Sting beat Rollins and won the world title. But I said, Vince is never going to let that happen. I just was like, Vince is not going to book that. I mean, I get it.
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Why? Because you think so? I mean, Vince knows what's best for business. He's been doing it forever.
No, I understand.
No.
I'm just saying that Rollins was super over as a heel champion. That sort of chicken shit champion, right? J&J Security.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was totally Rollins. I think it was the entire package of the Authority that was over. And Triple H was a fantastic mouthpiece and a heat magnet, as well as Stephanie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't think that Sting was going to go over on Rollins and win the title. I was like, well, that would have been a nice.
No, I don't think anybody thought that. I think that's a problem. I think a lot of marks feel that way, that once you wrestle like someone who's a champion, like you have to win the title. Like, no, like that's not how it works. Champions have to defend their title multiple times against multiple opponents. Like, I think that's just one of those things. But, for me, I loved his WWE run. I wish it was longer. I wish that injury didn't happen because I really wanted to see something else. And we quite possibly could have got the Taker match, but we never did.
Taker's a punk.
So I think it would have been cool to see him work guys like that. I think one of my favorite moment is that statue moment, and also him in the ring with Randy Orton. I thought was really cool.
Macho, I think it would have been better had it worked out contractually that he fought Taker in 2011. Again,
Sting was a punk at that time.
They'd both be younger. I think that Taker wasn't as beat up. Well, he was still beat up at that point, but he wouldn't have been as beat up had Sting's injury, let's say, not happened. Let's say going to 2016 or something, whatever, going into Dallas at Mania. It would have been nice if they had feuded earlier, where they both weren't as. I mean, mind you, Sting had a hiatus, and Taker was only wrestling once a year, basically going into Mania. I think that match would have been better in 2011 as opposed to 5 or 6 years later. Is that fair to say?
Word.
Yeah, I agree, but I feel like a bigger money match would have been Sting and Shawn.
Shit out of your mind, dude.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel it because they were popular at the same exact time. They were the guys for their company at the same exact time.
We're going to be a battle of the smiles.
Well, Sting doesn't smile. No, but it would have been like that would have been the proper way to do it. That's the one thing that I wish would have happened. Is I just feel like because they're actually great friends. They do these like
go to the church together.
Religious, they do these religious things.
I think they're both affiliated with the same church affiliation.
They're both. Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Well, DiBiase's in prison, isn't he?
No, his son's
No, but Ted DiBiase here. I think they were kind of associated with the same church. I could be wrong though.
Okay,
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all these guys. I mean, especially. Obviously Shawn Michaels was an amazing human being, and he found Jesus. I found him on Bergen Line, and you know what? He decided to turn his life around after he met the Nitro girl, Rebecca. But Sting, he was fucked up too. He was a snitch, and he had to get right, and the Jesus thing's a good shtick. It's a good shtick to run, because it makes people think you're kind of righteous, and especially DiBiase after all that shit he did to Virgil. It makes sense.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I will say before we like wrap up here, the one thing I will say about Sting that I really enjoyed is I enjoy going back and watching matches of his that I watched as a kid and I didn't watch as someone who's actually trained. And I gotta tell you, man, his matches with Vader are super impressive.
Yeah.
And another thing is Sting really knows how to work like foreign talent. His matches with Great Muta are insane.
How few?
Absolutely.
89,
Yeah, I,
Greatest.
anything.
I swear. And another reason why I believe Sting is so talented, that he's so good, watching him do what he did with Swerve at All In this year, that is such a great thing to do at like 63 years old. I don't know. To me, he's a special talent, and
Swerve ain't no
I
top
agree.
dollar,
He's
bro.
super influential to professional wrestling. I think the only issue I've ever had with Sting is what he just recently said, that Darby Allin's his best tag partner ever. Because I don't think anybody.
He's working.
Yeah, he's working.
He's probably
And if I could just say,
he's probably
if I
working
could
for
say my
Evolution.
favorite Sting matches ever are his Super Bowl match tagging with Luger against the Steiners.
Yep.
And his match on April 26, 1999 against Diamond Dallas Page. Those are my two favorite Sting matches ever.
Wait, better than Muda for the TV title?
Yeah, that Sting Diamond Dallas Page match is 27 minutes of fucking amazing. Pat, you remember watching that match? Sting loses the title later that night.
Yeah, that was a great match. My favorite Sting matches are his match against Bret Hart at Halloween Havoc. I thought that was an excellent match. And his match with Triple H at WrestleMania 31. I thought the right guy won, and I thought it was fantastic, and it was a great feel good moment for the fans, man. You know, you got all these people coming out, so many legends involved. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was fantastic, and you know, obviously the better wrestler won in that.
Hey yo,
guys, I'll surprise you with my favorite Sting match. I would argue Japan Super Show when he teamed with the Great Muta against the Steiner brothers.
Ooh.
That was probably one of his best matches. Go back and watch that. That was an amazing match.
Do they have it on Peacock?
I believe so.
1,000 ads?
After 35 ads, probably, yeah, you can watch Japan Super
If
Show.
you're a fucking cheapskate, yeah.
Yeah, you probably do that. So again, folks, you know, we'll see what happens in February of 2024, where maybe he puts Darby over and calls it a career. But Steve Borden's had one of the more meaningful careers in pro wrestling. And again, I think Sting is once in a generation, if not once in a millennium type of talent. We'll never see someone like Sting again in the sense of what he meant to the business, the presentation, the look. A lot of people have tried it. Not a lot of people have succeeded, if any. Again, seeing Sting and in the ring with Ric Flair last week during Dynamite, I think was quite.
That was horrible.
Well, it was a moment, I think, for
Flair's face was so red from being drunk, dude. It was horrible.
Well, for marks like me, it was great for nostalgia purposes. But guys, before we call it a night here, on this day, October the 31st in pro wrestling history, some interesting dates here for you. In 1979 in Nagoya, Japan, Giant Baba defeated Harley Race to win the coveted NWA World Heavyweight Championship to become a two-time champion. He would, however, lose the title back to Harley Race the very next week. On this day in 1985, WWE taped the third episode of Saturday Night's Main Event from the Brendan Byrne Arena, Meadowlands Arena in East Rutherford, where the main event saw Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant defeat Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy via disqualification. On this day in 1990, on the 24th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event in Topeka, Kansas, we would see Hulk Hogan lose by a countout to the Genius. On a historical note, the Rockers defeated the Brainbusters in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This would prove to be the last ever match in which Arn Anderson would ever team with Tully Blanchard ever again.
That was also the first Young Bucks FTR match.
There you go. On this day in 1997, Jersey All Pro Wrestling held an event called Halloween Hell in the Hell Hall of Hudson County, Bayonne, New Jersey. A 20-man battle royal was held to determine the company's first ever World Heavyweight Champion, which was won by Joe Rules after eliminating Pitbull number 2. Later in the show, Pitbull number 2 convinced Rules to defend his newly won belt in a match against, and ultimately Pitbull number 2 came out on top of becoming the second ever Jersey All Pro
Pitbull number 2
champion.
J-A-P, J-A-P, J-A-P.
Yeah.
In 2005, Christian, real name Jay Rezzo, left WWE after declining to renew his contract, and will make his appearance in TNA Wrestling. And also on this day in 2019, Crown Jewel took place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where Brock Lesnar retained his WWE Championship against Cain Velasquez after making him tap to the Kimura lock in just over 2 minutes. Elsewhere on the card, Tyson Fury would go on to beat Braun Strowman by countout, and the main event would see The Fiend, the late great Bray Wyatt, become the new Universal Champion after pinning Seth Rollins in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And also, Natalya would face Lacey Evans in what would be the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia, where Natalya won by submission with the sharpshooter. All that good stuff on this day, October 31st. For wrestling history. Guys, take us home.
Mach, you could take it. I got a poem.
You got a poem? All right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a great today in wrestling history. That's pretty much it. I guess what I would say is I'll give you a match recommendation of the week. Go back and watch Sting versus Ming for the United States Championship, Great American Bash 1995. Awesome match.
Wow. Okay. Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
Since we mentioned Jersey All Pro Wrestling, I always feel the need to have to mention the late great Fat Frank Iadavia. And everything that Frank contributed to independent wrestling, to the wrestling scene in general. He's a legend in my eyes, and he's somebody who helped a lot of young kids stay out of trouble and learn how to become professional wrestlers. So we're forever indebted to Fat Frank. But since it's Halloween, I feel the need to have to give you a poem. And this poem is by way of the legendary Scott Levy, aka Raven. Love and hate and trust and fate, and I don't understand. Social grace, the human race confuse me. These words I speak bring forth a world of emotions of dreams lost, dreams found, and dreams I shall never see again. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Really, really good. Guys.
And Dave can't spell. Thank you.
That was really good. Guys, just as a reminder, last week I want to thank everybody for coming out to the 2023 edition of A Professional's Quest to Save Breasts to benefit the American Cancer Society and making sure against breast cancer. You'll all be happy to learn after donations that evening and some online donations in recent days to close out Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which ends today. I was able to raise, along with my amazing co-hosts, one of them being my bestie, Sandra Ramirez, who I know Mr. Rivera is a very big fan of, by the way.
Very amazing co-host.
Amazing co-host. She rocks the dresses like nobody else. We were able to raise $4,525 this year, which brings the total since 2008. This event I've been hosting has raised over $61,000 for the American Cancer Society, and certainly doing our part to raise awareness about breast cancer. And even though deaths have declined due to breast cancer, there's still more work to be done. And certainly the American Cancer Society does a great job in helping communities all across New Jersey and across the country in helping overcome the challenges and the tragedies that accompany us every year with breast cancer. So to everyone that attended and loved my pink suit, thank you and God bless you. And guys, great show today.
Fern, in all serious, just on a side note here, you do a lot of great work with your charity stuff, with your philanthropy, and obviously, you know, breast cancer is a very serious thing. But we love the boobs. Yeah, definitely. And you know, obviously, you deserve a lot of credit for what you do, and we look forward to a lot more of your events in the future as well. So definitely, Fernando, you deserve to be put over right now. Stay out of jail, bro. And it's recorded right now. It's recorded right now.
Unbelievable.
So there you go.
But folks, he is New Jersey's premier wrestling analyst, Darth Patius. He is Pennsylvania's premier speaker, Macho Rodriguez, and I am your favorite inmate and New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist. Folks, always remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. We'll see you next time here on Working the Marks, brought to you by Famcast Media. And folks, please stay out of jail. Do us all a favor. Just because you're Latino, don't end up in the big house. Folks, we'll see you next week here on Working the Marks via Famcast Media.
Let's go down.
Famcast Media.